Can you guys? Okay, there we go. Good evening, everybody. How you doing tonight? Good to hear one person out there anyways. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. A crowded house puts a big smile on my face, seeing so many people interested in what's going on and people that we can give some awards out to tonight. So we're going to call these August 27, 2025 City Council meeting to order. Let the record reflect that all council members are present and accounted for. And we're going to start off with the invocation tonight, and that will be honored by welcoming Phil Eisenhower from the Rock Church of El Cajon tonight. Phil has been with the church for 8 years and serves as an associate campus pastor. Are you here, Phil? Oh, there you are. I couldn't see you behind Bill. Okay. He earned his Bachelor of Social Science and Master of Arts in Theological Studies at Bethel Seminary at California State University, San Marcos, a local fella. Since its establishment in 2000, the Rock Church, under Pastor Miles' visionary leadership, has flourished. Guided by the principle of a do-something church, it has experienced remarkable growth. Today, they are proud to have 5 campuses, a presence in Oahu, Hawaii, and online streaming and Church Anywhere sites, all contributing to the mission of fostering discipleship and community globally. Phil's connection to the local community is profound. He was raised in Santee and is a distinguished alumni of Santana High School.
Good man.
Anybody out there from Santana? All right. So,
West Hills. Huh?
not too many, but on another occasion they will be. So.
Yeah, you know. That's right.
Let's see, where was I? His personal life is a testament to his faith, as he and his wife Amanda have shared a blissful marriage for 15 or 16 years now.
16 years.
16 years, and are blessed with 3 sons. Phil serves as a youth pastor served as a youth pastor for 5 years before assuming his current role as an associate pastor. He is passionate about preaching the gospel of Jesus, dedicated to helping others come to know God, grow in the community, and make a difference. So I want to thank you for being here once again. And we're going to ask you to pray for, of course, the United States of America, the state of California, our great city of Santee. And then please take a moment to acknowledge the shooting that occurred today in Minnesota and pray for those people. So, and then we're going to follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. And I think I'm going to have Steve Miller do that tonight. Please rise.
Okay. Let's pray. Father, God, we thank you for this day, God, your goodness and your grace. And before we move on any further, God, we just want to take a moment and acknowledge the families who were impacted by the shooting today in Minnesota. God, would you be near to those families? God, would you comfort the brokenhearted? You say that you are near to the brokenhearted. So we thank you, God, for your presence and ever-present help in time of need. And may your peace just rest on those families as we take a minute to reflect. Lord, tonight as we gather and continue to have conversations on how to best strengthen and grow the city of Santee, God, we pray for our country. We pray for the state of California, the county, God, the city of Santee, and the leaders, Lord, who have been trusted to lead for such a time as this, God. We pray that you would give our leadership wisdom, peace, and unity, God. We pray that as our kids go back to school, that they would be in a safe space, God, where they would learn to read and write and grow, and their ability to do math and problem solve and laugh and be together with friends, God. And would you be with us and give us eyes to see, Lord, and ears to hear the things you would have for this community. And with a gracious heart, may we continue forward together. May we not take these leadership responsibilities lightly, but rather with humility and courage. May we work with one another for your glory and the betterment of the people here in the community. Bless our time tonight. And again, thank you for your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Will everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance by facing the flag and repeating after me? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Just as a side note, Council, I did send off a letter to Mayor Jacob Fry from Minnesota, let him know that our thoughts and prayers would be with him. So. All right, let's see now. Should we do some recognitions tonight? Anybody here from the Santee Youth Business Fair? Well, I expected a lot more from that, but okay. I'm going to go down. I'm going to pass these certificates out, and I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask Councilmember Koval to come down because she attends these things with me every year. Thank you.
And families, feel free to come up and get photos.
Oh yeah, if you're here, come up here. You can stand anywhere you want up here. Take pictures. Get up close. These are sometimes a once in a lifetime opportunity. So for those of you who don't know what the youth fair is, that every single year, and we've done this 3 years now or 2, it's put on by Momentum Tutoring, and they have a lot of partners involved, and it takes all the kids and puts them together, and they create things like businesses. They do everything from crafts to food and things of that nature, and then we go around and we actually do a judging, and we choose the leaders that, how do they say that? The cream that rose to the top. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and start this up. And who wrote this? I can barely read it.
It's here. A total of 70 youth entrepreneurs at the fair on August 16th.
Tell us about this.
Hi, I'm Terry with Momentum Tutoring, and on August 16th we had a youth business fair at Santee Lakes. There were 70 youth entrepreneurs and 58 businesses. Standing here before you are the youth entrepreneurs from San Diego, or Santee, and I'd like you to acknowledge that they had the courage, the creativity, the grit to get out there, put their ideas into action, and make a booth and be in public. So please give them a round of applause.
Go ahead and hold on to it. Okay, the first up here is a certificate of recognition, and this is for Amelia for Hive and Hue. Where's Amelia? Here you go.
We have Hive and Hue.
Oh.
Amelia's a kind of popular name.
All right, here you go. Congratulations. Who's taking the picture? And okay. All right, you can stand up here and get a better. Here. All right. Congratulations. All right. All right. Next up, I have, it's funny, I kind of remember all this. It's been so long now since we actually did this fair. Certificate of recognition again, and this goes to Sadie for Most Outstanding Momentum GTS Leadership Club Achievement.
So Sadie is at tennis right now, and this Sadie did not start her own business, but she was a part of the leadership club, and she has donated 100 hours of volunteer service since 2023. That is exceptional.
Like a true leader, you know the right timing for entering. Come on over and do the pictures. You can get those pictures off the television camera too, right?
James, do you want
Thank you. Congratulations. Certificate of recognition goes to Maddie, tie-dye duo. Here you go, sweetie.
And her sister Mallory. Can we get sister in there too?
Where's Mallory?
Mallory.
Come over here.
There's a duo. I'm not getting down there.
Get back up.
Yeah, we're gonna need the paramedics.
All right. What makes you think I can get back up? Here you go, sweetheart. Congratulations.
Taylor.
All right. Next up is Taylor from Pierced Creations. Oh, thank goodness you're tall. Thank you. Great. Congratulations.
Got Max. Oh, Max. Go ahead.
See how organized this can be?
Okay, so now these guys. Let's do- Hannah.
Somebody knows what's going on.
You know, it's nice to have a little helper, but having two sometimes. Sometimes.
Teamwork, everyone. Teamwork.
Exactly. And that's what we teach over there, isn't it?
Yep.
So now I have a certificate for Hannah from Hannah's Glitter Tattoos. Come on over. I remember your booth. There you go. Come on in, Mom. Go around her. Okay, great. Congratulations. Okay. Next up is Cambria. Beautiful. That's beautiful, B-E-A-D. I'm actually saying this correctly. Bracelets and more. Do you have something on? All right. Don't waste your film. Congratulations. All right, I'm guessing this will be the other Amelia from Totally Handmade. Did I get the right Amelia this time? Great. Mom, did you get it? Congratulations. Yeah.
Got sisters Juliet and Audrey.
All right. Juliet. Audrey. Come on up. This may be hard to believe, but you know, Audrey and Juliet, and they actually have A&J Crafts. Which one's which? Juliet. You want to come over here and get a picture straight on? There you go. Don't be shy, folks. You know, the kids aren't shy, so thank you. Congratulations.
Keegan and AJ, they're brothers, but they had separate booths.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll do this one first,
Okay.
because everybody's important. All right, I have Hegan from Tasty Treats. All right, congratulations.
Guys keep moving.
I know.
Your mom's behind you.
Congratulations. And next is AJ, and you're his brother, right? And you had a really cool booth, right? And it was called Cool Caps. Cool. You get it, Mom? Congratulations.
Audrey.
All right, come on up, Audrey. And Audrey is from Little Friends Shop. Congratulations. Got it? Congratulations. All right, where's Emma? Emma's Fresh Drinks. Oh, you were behind me the whole time.
Best
It's always to
lemonade
have
in
somebody
town.
good and strong behind you. Congratulations.
Her sister, Mariana.
Well, we don't want the sister to be left out. Mariana, come on up. And you represented Mariana's Jewelry. Do you have any on you? Nothing on you, Mariana? Congratulations. All right, congratulations. All right, Desiree from D's Designs, come on down. Nobody here take a picture for you? Oh, congratulations. Did you get that? All the way from back there? All right, congratulations. You know, I got to tell you, I love this name. This guy's name is Jackson with an X. I love that. That's very cool. And he's from Little Bro's Shop. Good job. Did you get it? Congratulations. Are we done? Oh,
Well, these are exceptional helpers, Zoe
okay.
and Liliana.
Okay. We have nothing is done just by chance. There's always got to be volunteers and people who put everything together, and of course the helpers. And so I have certificates of recognition for, come on up, Liliana and Zoe. Which one's which? Liliana? Okay, Liliana and Zoe. Here, you can hold that. And I'm going to come down here and we'll do this right here. We'll look over at the picture.
Look at Linda. And then you look at Mom.
Congratulations. Oh, not yet. Okay. Congratulations, ladies. Okay, is that it? All right. This is really kind of funny because when we're walking around, I go up and I talk to each one of them at their booth and ask them questions, and they really don't know who the judges are unless somebody, lets it out of the bag. But they're all really talkative, and they want to tell about their products that they're selling and promoting. And you know what? Tonight, they're all very quiet. So this is not the way I normally would see them or the others that do the judging. And it's just wonderful to see kids out there, especially the little ones, that are really working hard on being the next businesses of our future. And so it's very cool. And now, Terry, do you have anything more to say on this, or?
Thank you, kids, for your bravery, and thank you for the time to acknowledge them. I appreciate you guys. These are the leaders of the future.
Let's hear it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Well done, guys. Hey, should we do it now? 1, 2, 3, bow.
That's pretty much the best part of the council and the things that we do, recognizing the kids, because, I said it before, but they really are our future, and to see them working hard to be good people and, continuing to, say good things about them. That's all I can ever do. So thanks for everybody for being there. And thanks for your patience for allowing us to do all that. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, even though that's the most exercise I've gotten in a long time. What are you laughing about, Rob?
I didn't.
Oh.
That was Gary.
All right, then. We're going to...
Yes, it usually would be me.
So tonight we do have a short presentation, and this is by San Diego Gas and Electric's Wildfire Safety and PSPS Preparedness. I hope you can tell us what PSPS is. Come on up. Not everybody knows that.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, staff. It's good to see you, Gary. My name is Joe Gabaldon, Senior Public Affairs Manager for SDG&E, representing Joe Britton, who had a conflict tonight and who sends his regrets. But I'm pleased to be here and to enjoy hearing about our future leaders. So tonight we wanted to do, on the eve of September being National Preparedness Month, I wanted to give you a PSPS update. But first I have to define PSPS, and many folks are aware that stand for Public Safety Power Shutoffs and are used only as a last resort when we have extreme weather. So next slide. And one more. So obviously, fire conditions are driven by a lot of factors, but one of the most important ones is really the fuels that are out there in the field. And a lot of that is built around the moisture, the rain that we received. And, a couple of years ago, we had a tremendous amount of rains. That really helped us stay away from public safety power shutoffs. It helped grow the vegetation. We really enjoyed green hills. But it also meant that we're starting to move into more of a drought situation in the community. We've had a little bit of rain that helps out. The monsoonal season is kicked off already. A couple of good soaks, and here in the community, we are expecting a little bit drier areas. So along the coast, they've had cooler conditions with colder water. Next slide, please. Drought conditions have increased. Last year's California only had 1% of the state listed as a moderate drought or higher. This year, 39% of the state is designated as moderate or higher for drought conditions. So it's very another challenge as well. Next slide. As we look to the fire season, I wanted to give you a couple of important topics. First of all, we are expecting above normal fire protection or fire potential in the inland area this summer. Fuel moistures is down, and the live fuel moistures in the brush is near to slightly below normal. Likely things could be picking up again or as we move into Labor Day and beyond. The FPI, the Fire Protection or Potential Index, is also elevated in the inland communities. Next slide. In terms, one more slide, too. In terms of public safety power shutoffs and the criteria behind how we turn power off only as a last resort, several factors. First, the decision maker is really one of our executives, supported by hundreds of people in the field, people in the organization, and especially around our emergency operations center when we activate it. Fire conditions are important as we look at those fuel moisture. We have about 216 weather stations in the service territory, and that helps us get a lot more information about what's going on with wind, moisture, humidity. We also look at weather conditions, right? We have high winds. What's going on in that area as well? We also look at fire activity in the area, what we have in terms of resources being drawn locally, but also potentially to other communities. Our focus is really keeping the community safe. We want to make sure that from an electrical standpoint, we're able to not be the ignition source for any wildfires across the region, especially during these high winds. We work very hard to maintain a safe and reliable network. Next slide. In terms of the process and how we look at it, we have a staff of meteorologists who are a part of the team really advising our operations, not only during extreme weather, but day to day as we go through rains, as we go through high winds. This team helps us prepare for any sort of potential events. 7 to 10 days out, they're looking at these activities and the conditions and starting to assess, what is a potential scope of an event. For the next 4 to 6 days out, we start to refine the modeling that helps us prepare for awareness, notifications. We will then get into 2 to 3 days out where we start notifying our customers that they could potentially be affected by a public safety power shutoff. Throughout these events, one day before, we continue to monitor. We're refining the models. We're starting to get additional notifications out to the communities, to our customers, and keeping them informed. And we really leverage the data built in and the technology that we have. Should we have to shut off power, we want to make sure that customers are prepared. And that's really why we do a lot of activities way before we get into the fire season. But we will also make sure that customers are informed as we begin the restoration process. It usually starts with boots on the ground in the field that are assessing any sort of damage in the infrastructure. And once we get that clear, and it's clear to re-energize, we do that, and notices go out to our customers as well. In terms of notifications, I want to share that we have the ability in our system to get notifications out via text, via voice, via email. And we always encourage customers to make sure that information is available to us and by registering that with our website. We also make sure that our messaging is aligned with the National Weather Service. It's important, next slide, I'm sorry. Thanks, James. It's important for us to make sure that we're working hand in hand with public agencies and helping to prepare them for these events. And this messaging is always, we're always taking a look at what else could we be doing better. And we do often solicit input from the communities, from elected officials, fire personnel, other public safety partners. When I talked a little bit about the residential notifications, we talked about the ability to notify customers by text or by phone or email. And we have a website, sdge.com/notifications, where people can find out the different ways to register their information. There's apps that SDG&E has put together, so they really can stay up to date on what's going on out there. We also partner with 211 and local community-based organizations to help get the word out. Next slide. So again, as I talked a little bit about the timeline, as we're looking at this, it really kind of grows to a point where we're actually sending notifications out to the customers. So again, that can start out 24 to 48 hours, and continue to go as we move through the conditions. At some point, we might have a larger area, and then as the event starts to mature, those notifications can help us really get to the customers that could be affected. Conditions in these events can also change, and so we're trying to keep people informed of those as well. For our support in the community, we want to make sure that our customers who are impacted have support. We work with, like I said, 211 San Diego. We work with other organizations. We also have our own facilities in partnership with local community centers, and we have 11 community resource centers that are in the HFTD. The nearest one, I believe, is in Descanso. People in Santee, should they ever be affected, have more of the urbanized areas for support if they were so impacted. We also work with the tribal agencies and tribal leaders to make sure their residents are kept informed. We also work with the Sheriff's Office in their Blue Envelope program for folks who might need a little bit of additional support in ways that we can accommodate them. So there's an interesting program there. Additional rides and potential hotel stays that are really delivered in support by 211 San Diego. Working closely with CERTS and the Sheriff's Office as well. Next slide. And one more slide. Okay, and next slide. Lastly, what are we doing on our side to reduce fire risk? And we're doing a lot of activities daily. Grid hardening is important, replacing old poles with steel poles and stronger arms and thicker cables and that kind of thing to help reduce it. We're also undergrounding certain lines and areas to help those communities avoid a PSPS where they're historically shut off pretty frequently. And if we can keep service on to community serving facilities, that's also important. Again, resiliency is key, whether we're talking about generators for residents or also battery storage in the rural areas to help support those community organizations. So just quick highlights of what we're doing. We've been preparing year round, so be available if any questions if you have any.
Great, thank you. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So do you have any plans or idea of when you may underground the ones that are coming, the main power line coming into Santee over the hills that?
Is that a transmission line?
Yes.
Typically, transmission lines are not underground. They're prepared for stronger weather events than the poles, but it is something to where we work to make sure not only that we've got our eyes on the distribution poles, but also looking at how is the weather affecting transmission poles. So I know that was a key issue up north, and we work hard to make sure that there aren't any problems. If there's a weather event that could be impacting the transmission lines, then that could also be shut off. And we found in December and January that we had some of those conditions. And so, it did affect customers who may not have, much wind in their neighborhood.
And that's exactly the point I'm making here is that it doesn't affect the winds and everything. They're not affecting our citizens here yet because they're not underground. Our citizens are affected, and areas that there was no reason, there was no obvious hazard in the city of Santee, yet many of our citizens went without power for hours to days.
Sure.
And I don't think that's right.
We regret that the community was impacted. It's the grid that's serving them that was under potential impact. And so, again, this is a situation.
So
where
is there a potential where you can look into the future and program those grids out differently so that doesn't happen?
We're always looking to do better. So I appreciate that, and we'll get back to you on see what else we can be doing in the future. Absolutely.
When will you get back to us?
Sorry?
When will that happen?
Well, we have to go through the season to see how things perform. I mean, we're continuing to work through after action activities after December and January, continue to work on that. But it is a process that evolves.
So in February, you're going to get back to us and discuss, you're going to come back here and discuss.
Sure, we can come back and talk about that at any time, yes.
All right.
Thank you. Ron, you had some questions?
How's the new battery area over there by Santana going to work out for us? What's going to happen with that?
I'm sorry, say that again, I'm sorry.
Are you aware of the new the batteries that are over by Santana?
No, I'm not. Are those SDG&E? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay. Ron, I'll follow up with you on the thing.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much for the
Appreciate your
presentation.
time. Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, that takes us to our consent calendar and the rest of the calendar. Are there any speaker slips?
No, sir.
Okay. Any items to be added, deleted, or reordered? Ron?
No.
Laura?
No.
Justin?
No, sir.
Vice Mayor?
None, and motion to approve.
Okay, I have none. Anything, City Manager? City Attorney?
I'll
Thank
second
you.
it.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, that takes us to non-agenda public comment, speaker slips.
I do have 5 speakers, Mayor.
Thank
The
you.
first is Virginia Hall.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Boy, did I pick the right night. I'm going to be asking for the community's help. And so this is great. I'm here tonight. My name is Virginia Hall. I'm on the Grossmont Healthcare District Board, one of 5 elected officials. And for those who don't know what the Grossmont Healthcare District is, which a lot of people get confused between the Sharp Grossmont Hospital and our district, we're actually a elected body, a special district that oversees 750 square miles, 520,000 people so that are in the East County. We go all the way from Lemon Grove out to Campo, up to the northern border of Santee and Lakeside, all the way from the border. Anyways, we are the Sharp Grossmont Hospital landlords, while Sharp manages the day-to-day operations of the hospital. We're partners with them, so we are the landlords. We work to meet unmet healthcare needs in the community. That's the other thing we do. We have several programs that we're involved with. We have grants for nonprofit healthcare organizations, scholarships for health high school to advanced degrees to help with future healthcare workforce pipeline. So we're looking to the future. We also have a new mobile outreach library, which is actually coming here to the city tomorrow at 11:30 to 12:30. It's to help people to get to look at various issues that they might be having and how to handle them. But the reason I'm here today is that we're getting ready to do our strategic planning for the healthcare district, which we do every 3 years. And I need the community's help to go on to our website where we have a healthcare. It's a survey to voice your concerns about healthcare issues. What is going on in your lives that you might have a need or a healthcare concern? So if you could go to grossmonthealthcare.org. That's grossmonthealthcare.org. And on the front page, you'll click a survey to voice your concerns. And that's why I'm here. So I'm glad that there's so many people here today. So anyways, thank you very much.
I think they were here for you.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
Next, we have Bill Crane and Michelle Barcelo.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Minto, Vice Mayor McNellis, and City Council members. My name is Michelle Barcelo.
And my name is Bill Crane.
We're city employees, and we have voluntarily participated in the recently formed Santee Toastmasters Club. And we're here this evening to invite interested employees, residents, and community members ages 18 and up to come to a meeting and check it out.
For those who want to build confidence, improve speaking skills, and become an effective leader, you are welcome to attend a Santee Toastmasters meeting where you'll find fun, supportive, and encouraging environment to help you achieve your public speaking and leadership goals.
Santee Toastmasters meets at noon on the first and third Thursday of each month at Santee City Hall, right here in these council chambers.
The next meeting is Thursday, September 4th at 12 noon, so we invite those of you that are here in the room or watching elsewhere or even at a later time to come and check out Toastmasters and see if it's for you. If you have any questions about Toastmasters, you can contact me. Again, the name is Bill Crane on the City Hall line, and my extension is 288. Again, that's 288. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We hope to see you.
Thanks. Good luck.
Our next speaker is Rosemary Hutzel.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Rosemary Hutzel, and I live at 9337 Lake Canyon Road in Santee. On August 17th, which was Sunday evening between 9 and 11, someone ran the stop sign, made a U-turn so wide that they ran it up into my yard. And they ran as close as about 5 feet from my house. I didn't realize that it happened that evening because I was way at the other end of my home. But in the morning, I went outside and I looked, and here's the stop sign right there at the corner of Lake Canyon and right in front of my house, and it was tilting in the direction of the street. So I did a little investigative work, saw where the treads were, where the tires had gone through, and happened to pick up a couple pieces, and I will show them to you, of a car. And here's another piece.
Rosemary, did you report all this to the sheriff?
I did, but I'm concerned about the traffic safety up at that four-way stop. It's been a problem for 40 years. There is no place for the police to hide to ticket people, or I should say the sheriffs. And I had to do mostly all the detective work. I called a few neighbors and walked down the street to see if anybody had cameras. And believe it or not, with the help of a neighbor, I found who did it. And not only did Chris from maintenance come out and straighten the stop sign up and the maintenance worker, but a really nice sheriff came. And I had already gone down and found the car. I walked down the street, made sure that these matched the bumper, and called the sheriff, and the city came, took a ton of pictures. But I encourage you to really do something about that four-way stop. Those other cars in the past have run up on the bank. People run constantly through the stop signs. Those people who are taking their kids to Sycamore Canyon, those individuals who are also going to maybe Guardian Angel, then those people who are not doing California stops, but are going through 25 to 30 miles an hour, doing this with their head real quick, no stop. Something needs to be done. You're going to have a hard time enforcing it, like I said, because there's no place for a sheriff to hide. Can we hop into the 21st century and get some technology up there or some road modifications? Thank you.
Great, thank you.
The next speaker is Brenda Hammond.
Ready for some fun? Go grow smart. Listen to them. Give them the information they need. You know, they brought me back to life twice in 1977. That was after Fire Department 13 did. So, but yeah, we need grow smart. We need them. And I had something all written out, but it got a little personal. I know that some of you up there and in the audience today with the shooting brought back memories. It brought back memories for me about Santana. And I just want to say that I'm not an atheist, but I'm so tired of people saying, we need to pray more, we need to pray more. Those kids were praying. So we need to stop this, pushing religion on people. Like I said, I'm not an atheist. I was raised Catholic. But and then I wanted to say with these kids up here, I have one of the bracelets. I got it last year when I was house sitting across the street from one of the girls that was selling them. And then I want to say that I think that I'm going to get in trouble from the other cities for this, but I think that Santee's teenagers and young adults are the best with the seniors. I've seen, you know, they're so good to them. And I'm a senior, so, you know, I noticed that. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is John Hosick. And that is our final non-agenda public comment speaker, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Hosick. I'm with the Santee Mobile Home Owners Action Committee, or SMOAC. The reason I came back up here from our last city council meeting, and thank you, City Council Mayor, for your support of the Buddy's Backpack event. Since then, there's been some nice pictures that have come back. Out of those, I have to commend the city for adopting the Marine Corps and honoring them and really taking good care of them. I'll tell you a little bit of a story from last year. So last year, I think you know that Dustin and Rob and myself have started this program in 2015. Those that don't, it's been this 11 years doing this. Last year, Rob came to me and he said, hey, the Marines are needing some backpacks, and that's not normally what they ask for. And normally, I would keep about 100 or so, because it's really it's a really tough program actually to put together and to collect over 1,000 backpacks in a month and 2 weeks, along with the supplies. It's really difficult. So I, on a leap of faith, I said, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll give up the last 100 or so that I have. And I started this year with 0. What makes that so phenomenal is that, you know, Rob, I have to commend you as a veteran. I understand what it means, you know, to need help and to understand what it's like to be a young sailor. You know, I didn't have necessarily a family, but I definitely was around enough of them to understand that they struggled. And to know that the city, and along with Rob's encouragement, not only last year were they able to be taken care of, but they were also able to be taken care of this year. And that's really nice. You know, it's really one of those nice things that can come out of this program. And it's because of the support of the city and the city council and the mayor and obviously your leadership, Rob. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And that was 300 backpacks that went to the Marines this year. Yeah.
Yes, it gets better every year. All right. Thank you very much for your speakers. This takes us to a public hearing, item number 8, which is a public hearing for a development review permit, DR 2023-0002, and conditional use permit P2023-1 to construct a 300,145 square foot industrial building located at 10990 North Woodside Avenue in the light industrial zone and certify the final environmental impact report. And Maddie, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I need to recuse myself from this item as I have a leasehold directly next to the subject property.
Thank you. And for those who maybe don't understand what that, anytime that any council, what? That's okay. He can still leave. So I just want everybody to understand that because there could be a financial interest that he has a office right next door, he cannot participate in the hearings and decisions that have to do with this project. So that's why he's asked to leave. Go ahead, Maddie.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Madeline Matson. I'm the principal planner with the Planning and Building Department. This evening, I will be presenting on the Palisade Commerce Center project located at 10990 North Woodside Avenue. The applicant is seeking approval for a development review permit for a 300,000 industrial building, a conditional use permit to allow for an increase in height allowance from 40 to 50 feet, and certification of their environmental impact report. The project is located in light industrial zone, which would allow for manufacturing, assembly, research, and development uses. It includes a 300,000 square foot industrial building, 50 feet in height. The project would include up to 42 dock high doors, 4 grade level doors, 2 truck courts, 301 passenger vehicle parking spaces, 30 and 40 foot wide fire access lanes along the building perimeter, landscaping and fencing along portions of the developed perimeter with automated gates at designated driveway locations, as well as an 8 foot high sound wall along the northern side of the property. To the east, adjacent land uses are general industrial, light industrial to the west, residential further west, park and open space to the north. The project would be responsible for constructing frontage improvements, including sidewalks along the northern side of North Woodside Avenue and a connection to the existing sidewalk along North Side Woodside Avenue that lies to the west of the project's driveway. The project would also install a crosswalk to improve pedestrian circulation at the project access driveway. The applicant will fund its fair share in the amount of $476,000 to rehabilitate the pavement with a full width and adequate structural support on North Woodside Avenue, starting from on the west where it meets the Caltrans right-of-way at the intersection of State Route 67 to the easternmost edge of the project driveway's intersection with North Woodside Avenue. Here you can see the proposed building elevations. The project is designed with a modern industrial style. The applicant is proposing landscaping and architectural treatments along the frontages to provide an appropriate buffer from adjacent uses. The EIR concluded the project would result in significant and unavoidable impacts related to cultural resources and transportation. For all other environmental issue areas, the project would result in either less than significant impacts with mitigation, less than significant impacts, or no impacts. Staff recommends to conduct and close the public hearing, approve development review permit DR 2023-2, approve conditional use permit P 2023-1, and certify the final environmental impact report, adopt findings of fact, a statement of overriding considerations, and a mitigation monitoring and reporting program under CEQA. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff is available for questions as well as the applicant.
Great, thank you. And we are going to have a presentation by the applicant.
And as a reminder, as a public hearing applicant, they get 15 minutes.
Good evening, Good evening, Mayor Minto and honorable council members.
Hold on, just you can raise that.
Okay.
There's a button over on the right hand.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
I'm hyped. Oh, sorry, all the way up.
In that case, never mind.
I might hunch over a little bit. Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor Minto and honorable council members. As many of you know, my name is Joe Mashurda, and I'm the founder and managing partner of North Palisade Partners. It's nice to see you all again. First off, we want to thank city staff for the collaboration over the past few years, especially Sandy Sawa, Carl Schmitz, and the city manager, Gary Halbert. It's really been an exceptional process working with the city, and you all should be very proud of your staff. We're excited to bring this $50 million state-of-the-art facility to the city, which will attract high-value ad employers and bring an estimated 185 jobs. For us, and for me personally, this is a significant investment in your community because we believe in the potential of Santee. Simply put, we want to invest in Santee because prospective employers want to be here. Santee offers skilled and educated talent from veterans to college grads. As a San Diego County resident myself, bringing high-paying jobs and opportunities to better lives is of utmost importance to me and my firm. As for the property, it's zoned and designated for industrial uses in an already established business park in a business-friendly city. So why East County, and more specifically, why Santee? It comes down to real estate fundamentals. The East County submarket experiences one of the lowest vacancy rates in the county at 3.23%. Typically, a market is in equilibrium at 5 to 7% vacancy. This low vacancy demonstrates the strong demand and lack of adequate supply in this market. The supply-demand imbalance is exacerbated by limited new Class A supply of buildings, especially in the size range. Low vacancy limits companies' ability to move and expand in Santee. For a manufacturing base to flourish, new buildings are needed here. The East County market primarily consists of older buildings with an average age of 43 years. These buildings have inefficient layouts, inadequate truck courts, low clear height, limited natural lighting, and little to no landscaping. Low vacant, excuse me. North Palisade has designed this building with the intent of attracting a Fortune 500 employer or a vibrant local growing company. It will be a modern Class A facility with all the bells and whistles tenants need and demand. It will be the right building that matches up with a strong local workforce. East County's diverse industries, as well as those looking to expand from other parts of the county and region, are seeking these efficient buildings. Historically, these companies have overlooked Santee because the city doesn't have the buildings to house their businesses. They just don't exist. For instance, GKN Aerospace decided to locate in El Cajon versus Santee. Another example, a very recent example, Solar Turbines. They chose Kearney Mesa over Santee. Our goal is to bring them to Santee, transforming a historical net exporter of jobs and employees into a hub for high-paying opportunities. As a firm mantra, we pride ourselves on working with the community to alleviate concerns. I'd like to spend a few minutes discussing the residents' concerns we gathered as we met and talked to local neighbors. First is views and aesthetics. Some individuals have commented on the height and size of the building and impact of view corridors. These next few slides show side-by-side comparisons of existing conditions versus proposed conditions. While it might be difficult to see, the existing drive-in projection screens at 51 feet and 65 feet respectively in height are actually greater than our proposed building height. So these are some actual visual simulations of what the building will look like. Another concern was hours of operation. Similar to any facility we build, we are concerned with noise and noise impacts on neighbors. Our facility proposes no outdoor storage and will adhere to all municipal code requirements. We also understand residents have had issues with some of our commercial neighbors. To address these concerns, North Palisade collaborated with city staff to add a voluntary condition of approval, which is shown on the next slide. This condition states that if alleged violations are reported, the city may ask us to complete noise monitoring. If we exceed projections, we are required to work with the building and planning directors on a resolution to reduce noise and then implement such resolution. Noise. While future building operations are below noise thresholds under CEQA, we have voluntarily agreed to the installation of a sound wall at the north property line, which will be constructed as a part of our initial construction efforts. The wall will be 8 feet in height, which is the maximum permitted under city code, and span 568 feet in length, which is about 70% of the entire north property line. Traffic. The property is already located on a designated truck route, and we will be adding a dedicated left turn lane with significant queuing depth to mitigate overflow onto Woodside Avenue. As part of our community benefits, North Palisade will contribute its fair share to improving Woodside Avenue, and a total of $1.1 million will be paid in traffic-related fees. While the drive-in was determined to be no longer economically viable in 2023 and was shut down, we recognize its importance to the city. As a community benefit to the city and its residents, North Palisade will rehabilitate, move, and donate the sign so this iconic sign can be placed back in the community. As part of the city's process, an economic and fiscal benefit study was completed by a third party. Here are some of the highlights. Again, 185 new local permanent jobs, $1.85 million in fees paid to the city. And over a span of 10 years, $1.6 million of sales and property tax revenue will be generated. As you know, the site is currently a vacant, blighted, unproductive property. The right-hand side provides a bird's eye view of the proposed building. Here's a great rendering of the office corner that you'll see as you drive into the property. We focus on an enhanced facade with significant glazing and metal cladding, as well as ensuring variation of plane to break up the building walls. Here's an enlarged view of the rendering looking south from the current, looking south towards the 67. Here's another rendering showing the truck court that's fully enclosed, or fully fenced rather. Here's another rendering with a view towards the south. Another one. And then, of course, our office facade as you enter the project. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you to everyone at the city for their collaboration over the past almost 3 years. Thank you for the partnership to achieve this important milestone. We look forward to moving this forward and investing in Santee. Thank you again.
Thank you. We're going to have speakers. There's 20 speakers. And obviously, if we go 3 minutes each, that puts us at a long time. So what I'm going to do, if the council will agree that we will give 2 minutes each for each speaker. No, come on. This is not the time where the audience makes the rules. This is where the council makes the rules. And my recommendation is a 2-minute speaking time. Council? Okay. We will, let's call the speakers. Each one will have 2 minutes.
And since we have a number of speakers, I'm going to say the person speaking and then the person following so they are ready to go. Our first speaker will be Stephanie Decker, who will be followed by Steve Evel.
Hi. I just wanted to bring up a few things to consider.
Pull it down.
I'll pull it down. Okay. I have been my whole life a fan of the Santee Swap Meet and also the drive-through theater. And it's going to be sorely missed, that's for sure. It was a place for the average person to go and be an entrepreneur. It was exciting and a lot of fun for all the community, and that is going to be gone. And I kind of feel like it would be nice if maybe they provided space to have a swap meet every weekend, because there are so many people that are interested. The place they are picking is a beautiful area near the river, and I think that should be taken into consideration. I'm not sure how many stories it's going to be, but also you have to consider earthquake, that type of thing. But the main thing is, as far as the swap meet and that, there's so many people that are vested in that, and it's been going on for years. My dad used to go to the swap meet, and when you go there, you get to know everybody, and it's a very exciting and thrilling place for the community. And I sure would like to see something provided, a lot, some space or something, so that it can continue.
The next speaker is Steve Evel, who will be followed by Carl Constantino.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. This is my first time, so I'm a little nervous here. I've lived in Santee since 1982. I love the community, but I hate to see parts of Santee being chipped away. We've had the movie theater that's gone away. We've had the roller skate rink gone away. Places like in Elkhorn, the Speedway gone away. Now we're losing the Santee Swap Meet. There's a lot of people that go to the Santee Swap Meet. I do all the time. I get 2 hours of exercise walking around, shopping there, meeting people. There's a lot of people that work there too are going to lose their jobs. And I just feel like there's a community, part of the community is going to be taken away. I think that's all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Steve.
The next speaker is Carl Constantino, who will be followed by Juan Serrato.
While I support some type of warehouse/manufacturing facility being built on this vacant land, this project is just too big. It's too big for the location, and it's too big in regards to traffic and noise. With 46 truck loading docks, this is, plain and simple, a distribution hub. And as stated in the EIR, potential for 24/7 operations. I've read the EIR. While it's full of statistics, calculations, VMTs, LOSs, and lots of figures, we all know the saying, figures don't lie, but liars sure can figure. Let's just use some good old-fashioned common sense. This project will add to the area, at a minimum, 2,400 car traps and 280 semi-truck trips daily to a site with only one way in and one way out on a bad road that they're only going to fix half of, with intersections at both ends that can't handle the existing traffic load. The east end is already a Caltrans-cited problem area, and it'll only get worse when they start with the roundabouts. That just means a lot more congestion at northbound 67, eastbound 52 off-ramps, north on Magnolia, which is already congested and 6 in-sync signals, then east on Woodside, which you all already agreed needs a traffic study when you approved the extra space tower. This project's needed for one reason only, so Palisades can make a lot of money and you guys can get development fees and property tax revenue. At least deny the project as is and go for alternate number 2, which satisfies 5 out of the 6 project goals without sacrificing the surrounding area.
Thanks, Carl.
The next speaker is Juan Serrato, who will be followed by Mike Aiken.
Hello, good evening, council. My name is Juan Serrato of Layuna here. We strongly support this project on Woodside Avenue. It means good union jobs, fair wages, and real opportunity for local families. This applicant has done the work, environmental review, community process, and all the requirements. At the end of the day, this is about jobs. Our members are ready to build it safely and build it right. We urge you to approve this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Mike Aiken, who will be followed by James Prius.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Mike Aiken. I'd like to speak tonight in support of the Palisade Drive-In site project. I can actually see the project from my backyard. I live in the Hill Creek area. And like many people that you're going to hear from tonight, it's a nostalgic piece of property and we all have fond memories of it. But the reality is it's no longer a sustainable business in today's world. When I learned about this, I reached out and wanted to learn more about it. So I reached out to the developers, met with them to learn more about the project. And I was very impressed immediately with the outreach they had done to the community to listen to what the concerns were with the community. They made real adjustments, designed a project that addressed the concerns like traffic, visual impacts, and noise. That shows a genuine commitment to being a good neighbor. Unfortunately, much of the opposition has been fueled by misinformation on social media, stirring emotions instead of focusing on real facts. I understand the desire to hold on to the past, but the truth is the drive-in isn't coming back. This project represents thoughtful progress, and I urge you to move it forward for the good of the community. Thank you.
The next speaker is James Prius, who will be followed by Jason Bazzi.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Jim Price, and I'm a proud 30-year resident of Santee. Also have 40 years in the construction industry and am far from anti-development. In fact, I'm very pro responsible development. But as been said before, as far as traffic goes, it just seems like a nightmare. I can't imagine how those roads will be able to handle the type of traffic that's going to come along their way. Semis already pose a problem in pulling out into traffic, and it just seems like this is a problem waiting to happen. That's it.
The next speaker is Jason Baez, who will be followed by Danielle Morris.
Honorable Council, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak tonight. Jason Baez with Labor's International Union of North America, here to fully support this project moving forward. I'm very impressed with this applicant and all the efforts they made to reach the concerns of the community. All the money, extra money they invested, that sound wall will make a tremendous difference for everybody. And they've also committed to making this financial sacrifice of hiring top dollar skilled union tradesmen, which will mean this project is built to the very highest standard. Excellent living wages will be paid along with excellent benefits. It'll also open up doors of opportunity for young people within our community, both men and women, for stellar careers in union construction. Also, there's off-site training for us to enhance our skills and our worth and open up other opportunities on job sites. And I want to close with this. I'm ashamed to say it right here in front of everybody, but my wife has to work. And in this today's economy, the price of living, especially when you got a big family like mine and you pay a lot of attention to your kids, it's expensive. And a lot of, spouses have to work these days. And these local jobs are just right for them because they can go pick up the kids from school. They can run their errands. It's a little more flexible for them when it's local. So this will benefit all of us in a lot of ways. I know change is difficult, but we need this. Thank you so much.
The next speaker is Danielle Morse, who will be followed by Clive Barrios.
My name is Danielle Morse, and I have very close ties to East County. I worked in Santee for years. I'm not anti-development or construction. In fact, I've made my career in construction. But I want you to vote against the Palisades project. And the reason why, I think it would make a great historic site or community center rather than a distribution center. Right now, it's a swap meet. I know the drive-in has closed, but maybe potentially another owner could open it. And it has thousands of people still going there every weekend. There's food trucks. There's people with small businesses, resellers, musicians, thousands of shoppers, low-income shoppers, maybe people who are middle class or upper middle class just looking for antiques. It's a great place, and it could be either remain a swap meet or something like that. I have great memories. My family's from East County. They've lived here since the 1950s, and we went to the drive-in and we went to the swap meet growing up. And it would just be great as maybe a historic site. I'd hate to see that ruined. Maybe they could make the distribution center a little farther out from where people live. I know for the people living here, it could be detrimental being so close to the distribution center. So that's why I would like you to vote against the Palisades project. Thank you.
The next speaker is Clive Barrios.
Maybe there was a typo. It's
And then you'll be followed by Al Sanchez.
That's Kelvin. Good evening, council members, Mayor Minto. My name is Kelvin Barrios. I work for the Laborers Union here locally in San Diego. I'm here to speak in support of this project. You've heard from some of our members talking about that this will provide good paying jobs locally. There is a union agreement on this project, and one big benefit that provides is ensures that the construction jobs that are being provided are from local members, local workers that will be working on this project. Sometimes we get construction projects here in the county that bring a workforce from Arizona, Nevada, or Texas, and it doesn't really benefit our community. This one's different in that sense, and it will provide for good paying jobs. But in addition to that, I think you've seen in the presentation, it will also provide hundreds of jobs, stable jobs, fixed jobs in an area where we need this type of growth. We have an empty lot. There's a property owner that wants to develop that lot and improve, the commerce in our area. It's also the appropriate site for this. It's an industrial site. It is fairly close to the highway compared to folks are saying keeping it away from residential areas. It's a properly zoned area. So I do encourage the council mayor to approve this project. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Al Sanchez, who will be followed by Jose Radillo.
Hello, I'm Al Sanchez. I'm a member of La Una
Laborers International Union of North America. I'm also a member of Local 89. I've been a member since I was 20 years old. I'm 60 now. It's an awesome project. We also have some apprentices here that just started their career, and we have hundreds of members that live around the area. One of my first jobs was Hams Brothers, right over here in Santee, probably about almost 38 years ago. Please help this. We have our laborers training school around the corner. It's all good for everybody. Like I said, we have we have about approximately 5,000 members all around the area. Spend money all around here. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Jose Radillo, who will be followed by Gage Swainer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Jose Radillo. I'm a proud member of LIUNA, Laborers International Union North America. And I strongly support this project. Project similar to this one 23 years ago gave me an opportunity. I wouldn't know where I'd be at if I wouldn't be, LIUNA gave me a second chance. But being a construction worker is no easy task. We get up early in the morning and we travel, just like some of our members that are not here this evening, as they travel 100, 150 miles away from their home. We toil under the scorching sun. We're stuck in traffic. And then we have to worry about layoffs. And then when we get home, we have to pay attention to our loved ones. But however, this project here represents restoration, comfort, just being with our family. It gives us the opportunity at least to be close to our families, spend quality time, staying off the roads. And I just want to commend the developer for utilizing union laborers. It's something that it's amazing when you have a private developer coming in and infusing private money right here into the community at no liability to the tax base. That's something that says a lot about the developer. With that, I implore you to support this project also. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Gage Swainer, who will be followed by Stacy Lomedico.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Gage Swainer. I've come before the Council today to voice concerns regarding the impact of the Santee Palisade Commerce Center project and to formally oppose the certification of the draft EIR. This project represents one of the most substantial industrial scale developments proposed in Santee in recent memory, particularly with its scale, scope, and intensity. That means that this EIR should evaluate community and environmental impacts with increased scrutiny, patience, and care. As it stands, this has been almost completely overlooked throughout this project's lifetime. It fails to meet CEQA requirements in several areas and was hastily pushed along without due regard for the project's long-term impacts. The EIR slices impacts into separate categories instead of analyzing the combined real-life burden of multiple warehouse projects in Santee and East County. This is exactly what CEQA prohibits. Cumulative air pollution, traffic congestion, noise, and many other considerations are being understated. The EIR declares over 15 areas of significant environmental impact, yet the proposed mitigations are vague, unenforceable, and deferred at best. They provide little to no tangible performance standards, monitoring strategies, or enforcement procedures. CEQA requires enforceable and effective measures, not promises. The EIR also fails to study a reasonable range of alternatives. No serious reduced intensity or alternative location was considered, even though those options could substantially lessen impacts while meeting project objectives. The chosen alternatives are narrow and appear designed to justify the proposed project rather than provide genuine options to substantially reduce impacts. For these reasons and many more listed in detail in my written opposition, the draft EIR does not comply with CEQA. I respectfully request that the Council reject certification and require revisions to address cumulative impacts, strengthen mitigation, expand alternatives, and correct technical flaws. I also encourage the council to carefully evaluate the relationship between fast-paced
The
economic
next
growth.
speaker is Stacy Lemetico, who will be followed by Dan Bickford.
Okay. Mr. Swainer, Stacy, give me just a minute. Mr. Swainer, can you come back up, please? I have some questions, couple quick questions for you. Yeah, I like the fact that you submitted in writing concerns, and unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of time to read these, so I have to ask you a couple questions, if you don't mind. Do you have any kind of background in environmental training or law or any of that kind of stuff?
I think it would be most appropriate to directly address the things that I listed here instead of trying to disparage my ability to write this document.
Well, that's not it. The bottom line
I have
is that
7 pages of concerns here, and there's lists and lists of all the things that were oversighted, and you guys should do the due diligence and look into them, whether that postpones the vote or not. This was rushed through, and it's
well, 3 years is not rushed through.
The EIR was.
Okay, here's the thing, though. I'm trying to establish the credibility so I can accept your testimony.
The credibility's in the paper.
This is not testimony.
No, it's a formal opposition.
Okay, but it's not
under
testimony.
CEQA. This is exactly how
I'm
it's
not going to
supposed to be.
debate with you here.
That's what you're trying
What I have
to
to
do.
say is that you haven't offered any credible testimony. Thank you very much. Stacy?
Who will be followed by Dan Bickford.
Follow. Honorable Mayor, City Council members, Interim City Manager, my name is Stacy Lemetico. I've lived on Hill Creek Road for more than 30 years. My neighbors and I came with pitchforks. The reality is they're small because Will Jacobs, of the developer, the applicant, worked with us since February of 2023. We're not here to say don't build the projects. We're not here to say don't decimate the plot that really is a plot. We submitted formal letters and concerns to the EIR in which were addressed on the RTC in the EIR. In addition, we also sent an email to you outlining our concerns. Bottom line is this is a discretionary action. This action for the environmental and the adoption and the conditional use permit is discretionary. We are asking for you to consider changing operations from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. from Monday through Sunday. We are also asking if you would please ask the developer why we have an 8-foot wall. We sit above the project. The 8-foot wall was a concession, and we greatly appreciate it. But if you're going to do a variance from 40 feet to 50 feet, why can't you do a variance from the zoning from 8 feet to 12 to 24 feet? Because the reality is there's noise. I have 33 seconds. This is in my living room. I have one window open. That's at 7:30 in the morning.
Stacy, before you leave, what exactly are we hearing?
Hold on a sec. Can you hear metal?
To be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what it is.
It's metal. We have a company, and I'm glad they're there. I'm not trying to dispute it, but there is a lot of noise, and it goes from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Metal, sheet metal. The doors are open. They're constant. Your code compliance office has been wonderful. I'm not complaining. None of us are. None of us complained until this project came up. We tried to live with the current issues that are happening. We have races over there at 1 a.m. We have a company that does some kind of building of cars or something, and at 1 a.m, they decide they need to race them. All we're saying is there's noise. We're not saying project alternative. We're not saying no project. We want to be good neighbors, and I think they've been good in providing some conditions. However, this is a discretionary action, and you have the ability to make a discretionary decision on the conditional use permit and the wall.
Okay, I have another quick question.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because I've known you for a long time. I know
Yes.
you have certain expertise in a lot of these different areas. So, I mean, you probably heard testimony like this when you were working with the city of San Diego. And you did what you could to find alternatives, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that's all you're asking us to do here is
That
find
is
alternatives.
absolutely. I'm not saying the environmental is flawed. Dudek is an excellent, reputable company.
Okay.
And there's no reason to believe any of it is flawed. We actually paid someone to review certain sections, and this individual assisted us with our comments, but nothing that we found was glaring or any kind of violation of any kind.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
The next speaker is Dan Bickford, who will be followed by Nancy McDaniel.
Well, I'm here to express my strong support for the proposed project. And I share the nostalgia of the drive-in and of the swap meet. It reminds me of a simpler time and a lot of family memories that I associate with those. But, they're in a business. And, this business, no matter how great it was, it's in the past. Much like the telegraph, steam engines, or the paddle wheelers. It doesn't make business sense to continue with a drive-in or with a swap meet in that area. I look forward to having a better use of this drive-in property that will help Santee grow and thrive. This project will bring significant benefits to our community. Job creation, not the 8 or 10 part-time employees of the drive-in, but an estimated 185 long-term well-paying jobs, economic growth. The project's highly compatible with and appropriate for this location. I live off of Mission Gorge. You talk about noise, okay, and 52. But they are over 600 feet away and behind a sound wall. They could make that wall higher if they wanted to, but that would be up to you. I'm happy that the sign's going to be saved and placed elsewhere in the city. I vote for atop the rock outcropping off of Finita Drive, right there on the 52. You can see it from both sides coming in and out of Santee. And if we replace the marquee with digital signage, might make some money.
Then the next speaker is Nancy McDaniel, who will be followed by Bonita Ellis.
Mine is going to be a little bit scattered because of what people said. The developer made a comment that these movie screens were higher than the building, but the movie screen is like a piece of paper. A building is like a box. You can see past the movie screens, but the box is actually going to impede a lot of the view from the people on Hill Creek. I've lived on Hill Creek for over 39 years, 13 years in one house and over 25 years in the house I am now. I like the street so much, I just moved up. My issue is the noise. We have noise from, and I don't even know, are these trucks going to have backup beepers? Because if they do, you think of all these trucks all day long, all night long with their backup beepers. We hear that now. It's not horrific, but it's bad. I lost my thing here. They say it's not going to be 7 days a week, but it could be. Well, what about that could be? There's decibel levels. I don't want to bring up the concert that went over there, that was over there several months ago, that was heard clear over to Santana. Stacy's got video of it on her phone, with her windows in her house shaking. It was horrific. Nobody monitored the decibels then. If we say that the decibel level over there is too high, how can we be guaranteed that anybody's going to do anything? Because that night until after 2 a.m, and somebody at the city gave them permits, because when I called the sheriff said, please call the city tomorrow. Their permits say that. So my whole thing is, you're going to promise it's not going to be 7 days? Can you promise it's not going to be 7 days a week? Are you going to promise the hours? And are you going to promise that you're going to check the decibel levels? Because if you don't, I didn't move into Gillespie Field and complain about the airplane noise. I moved into Santee on Hill Creek Road where it was quiet, and it's not going to be. And God bless the union. but they're going to build their building and they're out of there, and then we have to deal with the noise. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Bonita Ellis, who will be followed by Steve Lyserson.
Hi, City Council and Mayor. Thank you for letting me speak. I've been a Santee resident for 40 years, resident and taxpayer, by the way. I live directly in the middle, across the river from this development. I am all for the development. I think Santee has for too long been stagnated with not enough development going on. I've also seen the dwindling attendance of the drive-in. For those who are big drive-in fans, you should have been going to the drive-in because it wasn't there. I have one concern, and one major concern about this development, though, and Nancy just pointed that out. It's the noise. From what we understand from the EIR, there's an 8-foot limit to the wall that they're going to be putting against the northern end of this property to mitigate some of the noise. However, the noise, that wall can go up higher. There's nothing that says that you guys can't approve a higher wall. We already have, and some people have pointed out, dealt with some of the noise issues that have been going on in that development. The cars, we have a high-performance engine or car company that goes on way into the evening. So yeah, we can put you guys in a reactionary mode where when the noise happens, we call you and then you get somebody out to evaluate it, or we can get something in place that prevents this from happening. I would like to see you guys approve a wall that's a little bit higher, because those trucks are going to make a lot of noise, and it is going to potentially be 24-hour. That's not what they say. They don't anticipate it. However, it's a blank check.
The next speaker is Steve.
I'm sorry, what was your name, ma'am?
Bonita.
I'm sorry, what was her name?
Bonita Ellis.
Or Bonnie Ellis. It's easier.
Thank you.
And then following Steve will be Dean Velasco.
Hello, City Council. I am not a resident of Santee, but I do have several businesses here in Santee, and I own 2 rental properties. And so, anyway, and my building is in the dark area on the notice that you sent out, that's affected by this. And I actually support the building or support the general stuff that's done, but I also have some sympathy for the people who have spoken here, although I can't talk about myself having that affected because I'm only here from 8 to 5. So anyway, I have 4 businesses in Santee. I own 5 condos in the building that's affected, and I also rent 4 spaces down the street. So I have given up going on the road exiting Santee with Riverford Road, because the way the lights work and everything else, you can be there for a long time before you even get out. So I want you to solve that problem. And the second thing is, the other side is not equally bad, but it's now my choice of how I leave the company. So I hope you can solve the problem, and I hope your traffic study is a good one. The second thing I would say is, I think you owe it something to the residents. I bought my property there. We were the 5th building built by Hammond in the park, and so I've been here since 1983. Now, the roads around where I am, I had my stroke 2.5 years ago. And let me tell you, the roads that are in the park are no.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Dean Velasco, who will be followed by Sean Wilson.
Hello, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, City staff. My name is Dean Velasco. I am a highly active resident here in Santee. I am also the Parks and Rec chairperson, and I'm on the Santee Community Foundation. I'm very active in Santee, and to give some background on the swap meet, I've been going to the swap meet for 30 years. We go every single Sunday. If any of you are my friends and see my Facebook page, usually the treasures we find. So I know most of the swap meet folks here, but I'm on the totally opposite side of these folks. The development, I met with the developers probably 6 months ago, and I think this project is exactly what we need in the exact location in Santee of where it needs to be. I think I highly encourage City Council to approve this project as it sits tonight and say yes. This is bringing a massive amount of jobs in our town, which we've always wanted. It's not in the middle of town center like the other kind of manufacturing jobs. This is in an industrial area. I'm also a business owner here in Santee, and I love that we're getting some revitalization down there on the forgotten part of Santee, which is the east end of Santee. I have a business that'll directly be affected by this, hopefully in a positive way. But I just think when you look at our map and you look for a place to put this type development, there is not a place in Santee, because I've looked at the map many times to find a new place to open a store for myself. There is not a place better in Santee well suited for this. And I full-heartedly, as a business owner, community leader, support this project, and I hope you guys do as well. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sean Wilson, who will be followed by Tanya Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I'm a business owner and a property owner in the affected area just west of the drive-in. My concern is with the city's budget to upkeep the frontage road after all the improvements are done. Our trucks already get damaged by the potholes. I can't get city staff out there to fix it. In construction, I feel like I should take one of my trucks and fill the potholes. So my concern is, once the improvements are done, what's the budget allowance from the city to maintain that road on the front road? And then my second point is the access to the freeways. If Caltrans and the city have gotten together to improve the Riverford on-ramp to 67. Thank you.
The next speaker is Tanya Fisher, who will be followed by Doug Hansen.
Good evening. Thank you. I just wanted to let you guys know that I have been a resident here for 46 years. I'm third generation going to the swap meet. And I just want to piggyback off of a lot of what we started with tonight, was a lot of the youth that got to go out and become entrepreneurs. And myself, going at 6 years old with my grandparents, taught me a lot, and I was able to sustain a life, just like I see many people every weekend being able to do. And I think that a lot of people are not taking in consideration that we have solid jobs there. We have solid traffic that comes and goes, and we don't have incidences where it could be the result of what you're trying to bring in to this community. I mean, the impact is amazingly astonishing that it would even be an agenda to have in our community. I get that they want to have development, but I don't say here. And for the loss, for all my children, my family, I recently just got diagnosed with a brain tumor and my hand amputated in a rollover accident. And because of the swap meet, I go and hundreds of people help me and my family to pray, to talk, to communicate, to keep on asking how they're doing. So many people just get out just to walk and talk. I've been there 40 years solid. And the amount of jobs that's coming in, that's already sustained there, that you'll take away from our community, you're going to take away from my son, my other 5 children that have been there. It's okay that the other place is gone, but think about this. Everybody loves an establishment that's been around, fond memories. Please keep this place alive for me, my family, and thousands of people that love going. Thank you.
The final speaker will be Doug Hansen.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I too live on Hill Creek Road in Santee, 42 years worth. I don't have a whole lot to add to what's going on. I am not offended by the concept of the development. I am concerned about the lack of discretion that may be used or may not be used from the city. And that is to make sure that you do all that is reasonably possible to mitigate noise and light pollution affecting my house, which is directly across the street or across the river from the bays that they're going to be using, the 42 odd bays, well, 21 on that side. And it's nothing but going to be but a echo chamber that's going to reflect off the back of that building without any relief to break that down. Things that you've heard from, like Stacy, which is very appropriate. Can you limit the hours? Can you eliminate Sundays? Use your discretion. But I don't want to stand in front of development. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Doug. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate all the testimony. Obviously, we have a big decision to make here tonight. I'm going to open this up for council comments and questions. Vice Mayor, do you want to, how about kicking us off?
Okie dokie. Let me get my notes here in order. All right. First thing I want to talk about is private property rights. The city of Santee does not own this land. We don't own it. Somebody else owns it. And it's not the people that had the movie theater there or the drive-in theater there. It's not the people that started the swap meet. No, the applicant is, they've got the rights to this property now. So the reality is that they have the right to control what goes down or doesn't go down on this property. To come out and say that as a council member that I can keep the swap meet open would be a blatant lie to you. I could tell them I want a swap meet there and they could tell me to pound sand and there's nothing I can do about it because we don't control that. It is their private property. It's like me going to your house and telling you, you can't use your front door anymore. You have to go through your back door now. Why? Because your neighbor doesn't want to see you going in your front door. That's your property. It's your right to do with it as you please, as long as it's legal. What we do have the right to do is to make sure if we're going to allow a new business to come in, that it's being done thoughtfully. It's being done with the end in mind, that we're thinking forward, not just about what's going to happen today or tomorrow, but what is it going to look like 30 years from now? What are those impacts going to be 30 years from now? And I do have a couple of concerns with that, but I wanted to get that out first because there's obviously some misinformation out there that this council has the right to tell them you must keep a swap meet there, or you must put a drive-in theater there, or you must keep that up. That is not within our purview. We do not have the right to do that, nor would I ever want to do that to somebody else's property. That's their property, and they should be able to do with it whatever's legal as their right, because that's why they've saved up all their money to do this. That's what you do. That's part of home ownership or private property rights. Now, that being said, a couple of things did strike me, and I want to address them. Mainly being, let's see, I heard several times hours of operation. Hours of operation have been agreed to. They are now part of the CUP. So if they don't adhere to the hours of operation as stated, the CUP can get pulled. They have to cease operation. Doesn't matter whether it's the applicant or the next person over, because it's a conditional use permit, correct? That's correct. So, yes, that is our that's our stick, is that conditional use permit can get pulled at any time if they do not adhere to the hours of operation. I heard about races going on over there. That's already illegal. That shouldn't be happening to begin with. And it doesn't matter if that's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or if it's at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's illegal. It shouldn't be happening. Now, does it happen? I'm sure it does. It happens on my street. It happens all the kids do crazy stuff. Is it right? No, it's not right, but it does happen. And I wish law enforcement could be everywhere all the time. Unfortunately, they can't. But the only way that we get notification of that is if you make a phone call. So, yes, I know. I see you're shaking your head back there. You still have to make the phone call. We don't know about it unless you make the phone call. Putting it on Facebook is not notifying the city of Santee. It's not notifying the sheriff's department. Putting it on Facebook tells your neighbors and everybody gets upset, and I understand that. But the reality is, if you're not calling the sheriff's department and making that complaint, we don't have the records, because there is a trend. Typically, when they do those types of things, especially if it's controlled, there's groups that have times that they think that they're not going to get in trouble. They'll start doing it at the same time, same place every single time. There's patterns that our law enforcement have the ability to check and be at the right, try to better be at the right place at the right time to catch them and make sure that doesn't happen again. Is it perfect? No, but there's nothing to stop anybody from racing up Magnolia or Cuyamaca or anything else as they do. It's illegal already. When they get caught, they will get in trouble. We just got to be able to catch them. The concert that was brought up, once again, no, that was not a permitted event to 2 o'clock in the morning. In fact, I don't remember you guys knowing anything about, not a single one of us knew anything about it. It was not a permitted, it was totally unlawful. Yeah, I know, and
that's it. Yeah, give your testimony.
So that was not allowed to be at till 2 o'clock in the morning. We've never done anything till 2 o'clock in the morning.
You know what? I'm going to need you to stop engaging in conversation back there. It's disrupting this.
The Riverford light, somebody mentioned the Riverford light. That's city of Lakeside, isn't it? County of San Diego. Sorry, well, Lakeside. It's not a city. Yeah.
No, Vice Mayor, before you go down that road, no pun intended, I have updated information on that.
Okay, but so. I understand that light is frustrating to some, but once again, that's not something that the city of Santee has control over. That's county property. We don't own that land. It's real close. We're a block off of it that it's the city of Santee, but it's not Santee. It's the county, or the community of Lakeside, and the mayor will talk further about that. All right, I already did that. Maintenance of Woodside, that is something that has been discussed many, many times up here. And the gentleman that brought that up, I totally understand what you're talking about, the potholes and all. There he is. I 100% agree with you. And it's already been something that's kind of been, it is on the books for us to deal with, but it's one of those that has gotten so bad that it's going to require major renovation. It's not a patch type of property. It's a piece of the road. But with this, we will have a fresh start that we'll be able to maintain. I will apologize to you and everybody else in the city of Santee that for a lot of years, we didn't do enough to maintain our roads. We didn't. And over the last 5 years, we finally got a council together that has that same priority in mind. We've spent literally 4, if not 5 times per year that we did per year in the previous 5 years. So is it perfect yet? Absolutely not. We've still got a lot of roads we've got to catch up on, a lot of city streets, a lot of neighborhood streets that we've got to catch up on. But by the same token, there are opportunities with some of these developments that will help make that happen. And it's a whole lot easier to maintain it when you have a plan than it is to start something from scratch. Starting from scratch costs a whole lot more money, and that's what this would, if we do approve it, would allow it to be basically give us a fresh start on that section at least. There's still more to go down. I already did that. Somebody, and I don't know if the applicant or staff can show me in the renderings. In the renderings, I didn't see the sound wall. I didn't see that 8-foot wall in the renderings. Could somebody point that out to me? I can't see it. Somebody bring that up. Those.
My name is Wayne Jacobs. The applicant. Thank you for letting me address this question. The sound wall is there. The reason it's hard to see is because it's obscured behind the planting that's shown along the northern property line. But it is in fact there. If I can zoom in, I can't zoom in here, but right.
You had a slide that actually was that actually showed it in green or something like that.
Oh yeah, I can go back to that one as well. The location is right here, shown in orange.
Yeah, I can see where it's going to be, but I would rather go back to the other slide that you had that gives the rendering of what it's going to physically look like to a neighbor across the river there. So here's where I have a lot of my issues with what's going on thus far. I do agree that the wall should be as big as it can, as tall as it can be to offset the sound as much as possible. I recall, if you guys remember, maybe Minto, you might be the only one that was up here at that time when we were discussing the Super Walmart and the sound for that, and we were talking about going a little bit higher because of the trucks loading into people's backyards, basically, and we kind of discussed how we could possibly do that. I think this is an opportunity here to discuss it for the exact same reason. There is an echo effect. These are things that happen. And I'd like to see us work towards mitigating that a little further if it's possible. If it's not, there's something that I'm unaware of that says that we absolutely cannot do a wall over 8 feet. You look like you're about to tell me something.
It's certainly within your authority to waive those wall conditions.
Okay, I'd maybe a 10-foot wall would be at least a reasonable modification. But beyond that, if you were able to pan out of this picture and go west on it, which you can't, I mean, it's not in your slides, but that's where a lot of these homeowners that are here are talking about that they're going to be looking down on this. The back of you guys did a phenomenal job with the front of the building.
Thank you.
You really did. I think it's beautiful. I think you did a great job with that. The back of the building is often, in my opinion, left with something to be desired. We did just require a storage facility to put like those ivy facades on the backs of the building because of the view shed of neighboring residents. I would like to see something like that on the back here. It just provides some greenery so that this building blends in more into the tree line rather than it just being this big, huge white wall that these neighbors are going to be looking at. I agree that it is a lower height than the movie theater screens were, but I don't care. I want those people to be able to look out there and not just see. I mean, the movie theater screens were white. They were huge. They saw it, but this is us looking forward. If we have an opportunity here to do something about it, and that's not a huge cost increase, it's really not. I know those we had to look at it for them. It wasn't really a big cost increase, but that would make a huge difference to the aesthetics for the neighboring residents.
Sure.
You got something to say about that?
Sorry.
One thing on the sound wall, the origin.
To me or to them? Okay, please.
Yeah, and Vice Mayor McNellis, before I leave, I'd like to add a little bit of context about the history of the sound wall. So our original sound studies indicated that there would be no noise impact to the residents across the river without the sound wall. So our original studies said there's not a noise impact to the residents without the sound wall. Then we voluntarily added the sound wall to further mitigate the noise across the river. And so that's why we selected the 8-foot height, which was what was allowed within the municipal code.
Okay. I wish you wouldn't have said that because I find that disingenuous. I really do. I've been behind these buildings with Home Depot. I've been behind these buildings with Vons. I've been behind these buildings with Walmart because residents have brought this exact thing up. I can hear these trucks when they're loading, unloading. It does make noise and it does echo, especially when you have something like this coming across a river.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me, Vice Mayor, if I may.
Please.
And, we're open to doing the 10-foot wall, and we would absolutely agree to that here if that's what council members want. So I want to make sure that that's known. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Rob, excuse me, we need to follow up just on one thing, though. What was said about without a wall, there wouldn't have been a sound impact. What is it that would have caused it to not have a sound impact in the community if there was no wall? What was that based on?
If I may, we have a noise consultant here that did the study for the EIR. So if I may call him up.
Sure.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
You can hear the sound from the drive-in.
Hold on. I know, hold on.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. There's a difference between a impact per the EIR because that's based on your thresholds. As I recall, your exterior threshold at the residential neighbors is 65 LDN. Now, I agree that that dB limit may be higher than what the residences currently experience. So that's why, if our original study showed no impact without the wall, that's because the predicted levels were low enough so they still did not exceed your residential neighborhood exterior limit.
Okay, so yeah, I'll explain that. So to the residents, thank you very much. So what they're saying is they're not saying that there is no sound that's going to come out of there. They're saying that they recognize that there is sound, but it's within the limits of this area, this zoning of everything. I'm sorry, Stacy. I got you. We're good. So that doesn't mean that we can't mitigate it further. So I personally would like to see at least a 10-foot wall because I don't think there's a fine line. If at a 10-foot wall, I think we went through this with a couple other businesses. So that's why we have some experience up here with this very particular issue. 10-foot wall mitigated it greatly. Does it mean that it's going to be completely silent? No, nothing's going to be completely silent. It's a truck still moving. But it does mitigate significantly. But there's also a difference between, at a 15-foot wall, now we're looking at a 15-foot wall across the river, and that's going to look ugly as heck. So we don't want that either. So it's a fine line. I would like to see this building is significantly taller than 10 feet. That's why I want the facade up there, so it mitigates that view shed a bit, and it helps it blend in with the trees and everything in the river when you're casually glancing out across the river from your window of your home. It's something that it just looks, you don't necessarily notice. It's not just something that sticks out any longer. I would like to see that. And then the 10-foot wall, I think that would be appropriate. I think other than that, I got to tell you, you guys absolutely did a bang-up job on the front of the building. It looks beautiful. I love the fact that you took different textures and applied them. The glass, I think you guys just built the concept is a beautiful building, but it is a large building, and there's a lot of impact, and we want to make sure that we're doing it the best way possible moving forward. That ivy stuff, yeah, I do want it to be the fake stuff because when you do the real stuff, that tends to not stay. All of a sudden, 3 years later, somebody's looking at it and going, well, I don't want that anymore. We don't have to maintain it, blah, blah, blah. The facade stuff, stays forever. It's fake. It doesn't die. I think that was everything that races hours. Just make sure real quick, Mr. Mayor. Stacy actually addressed the EIR report for me, so thank you, Stacy. And the last thing would be, if the applicant come up here, it's potentially a business decision, probably.
Joe?
I know you're looking to build this and lease it out, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
And the hours of operation, is 10 o'clock truly a necessity in order to be able to find a potential?
I would say yes. I mean, it's
really 10 o'clock.
Well, it's important for us to have flexibility because, knowing traffic around here, there might be some trucks that come in later after traffic has died down. So these all go into the calculations of the tenants who ultimately occupy the space.
But that is something that's been in your study. That
correct.
In order to find somebody, it's one thing to build an enormous building like this. You have to find somebody that's going to go into it at the same time.
Exactly. And we don't have a tenant identified, but we want to make sure that it's as flexible as possible to attract the best tenants.
Okay, but the 7 to 10 does work within your confines, and you're agreeable to that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm done, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ron?
That's all right. That's all right.
Go ahead, Ron.
All right. Well, I'm in complete agreement. Here we are again, Rob. With the 10-foot wall, I think that would be a smart thing to do. I've had a problem with that. I would actually like to do that on the front, if we could look at something for the front too, because I see that yes, there's a freeway there, but I've been kind of pushing for this ever since I heard it. So I would like to, the people in the back end across the river are inconvenienced, but so are the people on the front side across the freeway. So river freeway, what's the difference? So I think we should have the 10-foot wall completely surrounding the place, is my personal opinion. I don't think that's too much to ask. I have a problem with any 24 hours, but you're saying it's 7 to 10. Where's it? But they're going to be there 24 hours. Okay, so the other thing we ran into was the loading docks. You said it was, you drive into the loading docks. Come on back up a second. Explain the loading docks to me one more time.
And what about the loading docks?
Well, they're supposed to be inside.
Well, so, this modern facility, the trucks will back up into the loading doors. Then they'll open, the dock high door will open up, and all the goods will pass through directly from the trailer inside the building. Inside. So there's going to be no outside loading.
Okay, but you're still going to have the beeping, and you're still going to have the doors opening and shutting, and
Correct.
You're still going to have the people playing the radios at full speed, full volume, and you're going to have a lot of. I mean, I was a Frito-Lay driver, so I understand. I was up there at 4 a.m. loading up my truck, so I understand the loading docks. I mean, that's what I did. And so to me, when people say, oh, there's no noise, it's like, well, I was there, I heard noise, and I know how it works. So
Sure.
Those kind of things there. I have no problem with you working once the loading docks, 24 hours, once the doors are shut. But if those doors are open, to me, you're in violation. So we have to have that discussion sometime also.
Yeah, and I think the voluntary ordinance that we proposed, has that measuring concept where if noise is, if there's an issue, if we get a complaint, then we will have to go out and measure at our cost. And if the noise surpasses the ordinance, then we will rectify that.
Again, all three of us have been here, and we've had complaints on Walmart on a regular basis. It's just, it's something that's been going on for years. It's better now, I have to say that, but it was, for a while there, it was pretty hairy. So it's a problem that we've run into. So when we see this stuff, we've lived it, and that's the point I'm trying to get across.
Councilmember, is it okay? Can we pull up the language that Joe is referencing right now? Because it sounds like we may need to add some hours of operation to that language.
Yes.
So here's the condition. It's in the development review resolution, but it's on the screen. So we could add language, if noise complaints are received for alleged violations of the municipal code between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., whatever hours that you want, that might clarify
That's fine
what you're
for
trying
me.
to say.
That's fine for me. I think that's important. Because we're looking, again, I've lived this. I've worked it personally, so I know what you're talking about. I know what's going on with that. And again, I'm would like to look into some kind of south wall, frankly.
A south wall.
In the front, where the front is, have some kind of sound wall there also. I know that's something you don't want to, but again, they're going to get complaints on that side of the freeway too. Right? There's already stuff coming that way. You look at it as a river, and I look at it as a freeway is also the river to me. So take your pick. It's all the same to me. When noise is coming over, they're not happy over there. And so that's part of the problem that we run into. So we can look at that later if necessary, but I just want to let you know that that's a problem I have right now. And I brought that up to you. We need to work on that if possible. So there's a whole list of things which I do appreciate you answering. These are the concerns that the people have brought to me, and so it's not like a small little package. And just to say that it's not in this noise. When you're sitting there hearing that noise all day long, it's not fun. You're not going to be there. Nobody's in here is going to be there except for the people that are across the freeway or across the river. And those are the people who are going to have to live with that every single day. And that's what I want to make sure that we minimize. So when I talk about the front wall, I'm not kidding. Let's see.
Understood.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I wrote down some notes, but I also took some notes during the conversation. So I'll address what I wrote down during the conversation first. And I do want to thank the citizen that brought up the, I'll call it a rave, most noise complaints I've ever heard on that site. And my understanding is that there was a permit issued for an event there, but the conditions were horribly violated on that permit. So, and I don't need to hear from you about it. So, that being said, the CEQA comments from that speaker aren't really relevant to me based on the event that he held. As far as the community impacts, I certainly wasn't on council when Walmart was approved, but I definitely live near Walmart, and so do my neighbors. So we're very familiar with the backup beepers and the issues, and that's why, lessons learned, we can write a better agreement with the developer now than maybe what we had with Walmart at the time. They did say that they wouldn't store things next to, and the houses are right there. There's no river. Our houses are right there. And, they had a lot of conditions, things were violated. But to Councilmember Hall's point, those have largely been worked out. The manager at Walmart now is very responsive, and, that issue has died down. Another one I can think of is Panera Bread, right next to condos. And they had conditions on their, this predates me, but they had conditions as well about delivery of their bread, basically, and what hours they could deliver their, goods. And they were violating those, but the city staff, code enforcement, I wouldn't say even just worked with them, they stopped it. And, the residents there are happy, and that's not a big distance, and there's no wall between them. They're right there. So the city is very responsive to noise issues, and I do agree with Vice Mayor McNellis. Sorry, Ron, not about the wall in the front. 67 you're not going to mitigate anything there, but if there's an opportunity to have a higher wall in the back of the property, I think that's definitely something that is worth exploring. Not to the point of diminishing returns, but let's do something. So, and here are my comments that I actually wrote. So last night I heard a quote, "Nobody likes change except a baby," in relation to something else, but it certainly resonated with me reviewing this agenda packet. In my 7 years on city council, there's one thing I've learned: no matter how thoughtful or beneficial a project may be, there will never be 100% agreement in the community, and that's okay. Like the drive-in site, we all carry memories of a place that shaped our childhoods. I grew up in East County. I still remember going to roller skate land as a kid, and in that shopping center, when we did move to Santee in the early 90s, there was a sub shop called Star's Subs, and that's where my family went all the time. I still am friends with Bernard and Elizabeth, who owned that sub shop. But obviously, those businesses are no longer there. If they were still standing, we wouldn't have our Sprouts, Casadoras, who has the best bean tostada, and now we have the Stand. And those are new places that our community cherishes. The same goes for the Santee Drive-In. I attended my first drive-in movie there in the early 80s and later brought my children to enjoy it, and I have many fond memories, but time does move on. Properties change hands, communities evolve. Whether it's a small development of 4 homes, Fanita Ranch, or a project like this one before us today, there will always be voices of concern, and I respect that, and we do listen. As elected officials, we are called to make decisions that serve the viability of Santee and our future generations. For instance, GKN Aerospace, which was mentioned in your presentation, opened a major facility right off Cuyamaca. Technically, it's in El Cajon, but basically it's in our backyard. And I do remember that the residents had many concerns about that facility, which is rather large. It's brought hundreds of highly skilled jobs to East County, and I think they said between 200 and 300 full-time positions in advanced aircraft repair and manufacturing. Even with its size, traffic stayed pretty smooth on one of Santee's busiest road, which is Cuyamaca, showing we can welcome smart job-creating businesses without losing our community feel. I hope that we keep looking at opportunities like these that strengthen our local economy and respect our community. This project is well thought out. It brings jobs, addresses the environmental concerns, and reflects the kind of balanced growth our city needs. I'm prepared to support it, but not because change is easy, but because thoughtful change is necessary. And those are my comments.
All right, thanks. So there's 2 things that I want to address right away. One of them is a real disappointment. So, like Stacy, we've known each other a long time, and I mentioned I know what your qualifications are, so I didn't have to ask you, essentially, because that lends credibility. But I am disappointed that I didn't get to ask questions to you about this, because this is important information. And in order to be able to offer a lot of that as testimony, it's important to ask the question. So I'm very disappointed I didn't get to do that, and it wasn't in any attempt to discredit you or anything else. It's just something that needs to be done for public record. So I'm just sorry that didn't happen. And the streets, okay, I can't believe it. I've been talking for about the last week and a half about this. And we're talking about the Highway 67 and Riverford exit, and then the area that also is on Riverford Road that creates the north, I call it north-south side of the street, for Woodside Avenue North, that goes along this area. And there is a project that has been underway for some time to design and redo the entire area up there so that we can eliminate the traffic signals and to keep traffic moving off so it doesn't bottleneck or doesn't back up onto Highway 67. And so we're in the midst of that right now, approving or getting the funding for that project. Unfortunately, it's about $15 million underfunded right now because of all the delays that have occurred. It keeps adding price. But I can tell you that I am actively involved with Caltrans, Sandag, and the County of San Diego and making sure that happens, because that's a very important project, as you can all hear about how, I come here to City Hall and I am sometimes get backed up on that off-ramp also. So we need to keep it moving. So that's what we're in the midst of. And so it's going to really change the whole way we see the traffic patterns around there so that north, south, east, west streets are a lot more efficient. And it's kind of interesting when you think about, well, if you take out the traffic signals, how do you get around? Well, the biggest thing today is these roundabouts. Anybody hear about those? Anybody go to, Europe where those are a big thing there and traffic actually does move pretty well? Because one of the things you might say, well, gee, how do you get through that intersection? Well, it's not an intersection, it's a roundabout, and you merge in there, and people, once they get used to it, actually they do quite well merging. So that's what it's going to be like. There will be two of them there, one that is right on Woodside Avenue itself, and believe it or not, they're actually going to, when you look coming off of 67, you see just that kind of a dirt wall there, and they're going to cut into that, shore it up so that it is actually something that is maintained. It gives us a little more room there, and so traffic will move better. So I think that will also help with some of those concerns that we heard tonight. I couldn't wait to tell you about that, quite honest, because I think it's a really great thing that's coming for the future, not just for Santee, but for Lakeside and many other people who are coming that work in other areas that are coming into Santee, Lakeside, and El Cajon, actually. So that's one piece of information. My concern, I guess I might have this question, because I don't think any of us on the dais are sound experts. We hear about decibels, we hear about different levels, we hear about different things like that. But there might be a question like to say, I'm not even sure how to ask this question, to be honest. How far does a decibel, whether it's 5 decibels, 10 decibels, 20 decibels, how far do they actually travel? And if they do travel and they hit this wall, do they just bounce back? Do they go over that wall? How far do they go over that wall? And are those decibels of noise diminished as they travel over that wall and then maybe come back down? Does that question even make any sense at all? Come back up. Come on back up. Okay, now, I guess I'm getting into your geekness now, right?
Yeah, I'm totally nerding out on this. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to try to track those. Yeah, Mark Silver-Dudek, the Acoustic Services Manager. So, yeah, Mayor Minton, I'm going to try to address some of those. So, sound propagates geometrically. So if you got a point source, like an alarm or dog barking or something, sound spreads spherically from that source. A lot of people say there's a rule of thumb, the inverse square law. So it's not linear, meaning if you go further away from the sound, it doesn't drop linearly, it drops geometrically. One way to put it is, again, for a point source, every doubling of distance, you'll get a 6 dB reduction.
I'm sorry, say
a 6 decibel reduction for every doubling of distance. For a line source, it's 3 dB. Now, that's just the laws of physics working. You also have atmospheric absorption. The sound will lose energy as it goes through the air. So it's not a lot, but when you have distances such as what we're talking about here for the project, and noise going north to those residences, it's got to cross a substantial distance. So even the air will absorb some of that energy. There's also ground absorption. And to your question about a wall, well, what happens, let's say if there's a backup alarm, that beep that's emanating from a source point and encounters the wall. Every material has what's called an absorption coefficient. So, glass is very reflective, not absorptive at all. But whereas if you have there's like porous concretes, or there are purpose-built noise walls, some of which will have, or like you notice on the highways, some walls have they're not smooth. They have granular features or some ridges or something. So sound will diffract. There's also some absorption. So sound impinging on a wall, some of it's going to be absorbed, but then some of it's going to be reflected. But even when it reflects, it's the earlier divergence I was talking about is still in play. So if a sound is traveling 20 feet to a wall, bounces, it's still going to lose more energy as it's on the bounce. And it may bounce again off another wall, or another surface, or off the ground. The longer it travels, it's still going to diminish energy, and thus dBs are going to drop. And that's in addition to whatever absorption, or whether it's air absorption or encountering a surface. There's multiple ways that sound will attenuate. And then, of course, we're talking about, should the wall be 8 feet or 10 feet? If that wall is blocking the source, you're getting that, what they call, a barrier loss. So, looking at a path between the source and the receiver, and I've got a wall in between, how well is that wall going to block that sound? And typically, if I can't see the source, that's usually good news. I would expect substantial decibels. But what's also important is where that wall is located. If the wall is, in this case, near the project, on a property line, we would expect it to perform pretty well, because barriers are best when they're near the source or near the receiver. And obviously, we're talking about locating the barrier near the sources. And that it's in our modeling, and that's what gives us the confidence that, again, going back to my earlier time up here, we're projecting the sound levels are going to be less than the city standards, and hence, less than significant impact. But regarding the wall's purpose to help reduce the sound further and minimize some of the concerns that have been raised by council, that's really what the wall is for, to help reduce those levels, even though they're already compliant with the city standards and thus the EIR. Hopefully I answered all those questions.
You did actually answer the question. So what it does is it leads me to this, because now this is a construction, thought, is that maybe we need to know, or you can look into, you probably already know this, you're the experts, the materials that absorb the greatest amount of noise. And I know that when they do them on the freeways, for instance, you mentioned like the different textures, but they also have like different kinds of elevations, if I can use that, to where some blocks are inset, some are not. So it's just like if you build a room for acoustics, it reduces the amount of noise that's being bounced around. And you probably do that with the construction of a wall using the right materials and maybe the different things like that. I'm going to leave that up to the experts to figure out, but I want to raise that so that we think about that, just like as if we have noise that bounces off the wall, off the block wall and comes back to the building. Is there a material that can be used that will also reduce the decibels, or absorb the decibels, I should say, so that when it does reflect back again, that it's even more reduced instead of just a higher or a volume? Yeah. So Paul, there you go,
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
You are spot on. You are spot on with the types of stone that could be utilized, and they already know what that is. Staff knows what that is. We've got at least 3 DJs in the room that I know of that have been doing it for over 20 years. We know how sound dissipates, especially when you're doing large arenas and things of that nature. You know what can be done
Well,
and
like
how
I
it
said,
bounces.
I know they're the experts. I still want to raise that, though.
Yeah.
Just so that I want to feel comfortable that is being done, because that's what's going to help with sound reduction.
Certainly, Mayor Minto. Yeah, I mean, again, I won't speak for the applicant because they're going to talk to the various suppliers, right? I could rattle off a number of brands, manufacturers that supply like highway noise barriers, for instance.
Okay.
But these are the
discuss that
considerations.
with them. We don't need to know that here.
Right. Those are reasonable considerations. As you said, we'll go into the actual design and construction and installation of these means.
Staff here's what we're saying, correct? Okay.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor?
If I might, I'm with the applicant team. I'm the CEQA land use lawyer. And so my job is to make the project as worse as possible so that we're having an over mitigation or an over impact site. Obviously, we've designed this project worst case scenario, right? We analyzed it 24/7. We analyzed the most, a tenant in terms of noise and trip generation, because we want to be able to show the worst case scenario and therefore have mitigation to reduce those impacts. And so while there's this discussion about an 8-foot wall and a 10-foot wall, applicant's totally fine with having the 10-foot wall. But what I would ask here is, because we put docks on both sides, there easily could be an applicant or a tenant that comes along that there might not be any dock doors facing the neighborhood. And so what I would like for you guys to consider, if that's the case, if those dock doors are not built facing the neighbors, then an 8-foot wall would be more than sufficient if there wasn't loading docks in the back. So I would hope that the condition could read, if there's loading docks in the back, it needs to be 10 feet. If there's loading docks not in the back, then it can be 8 feet.
Once again, we always do this beginning with the end in mind, because there's the way the building is being built, that will always be a potential to be modified in the future. And therefore, I would rather see that wall taken care of now, so that someday in the future, if they decide, the applicant or a future tenant decides, gosh, we really need a loading zone in the back in order to make this all work, that you have the ability to do that. We're not handcuffing you to that at that time. So I would rather see that. So do you mind? All right. I'd rather.
Honestly, we're clipping
Okay.
over 2 feet. Just put the 10
Hold
foot in.
on. Before we go any further, though, sir, I need you to identify yourself and your name for the record.
Yeah, my name is Jonathan Shardlow. I'm the land use counsel for the applicant, and that's SHARDLOW.
Thank you.
And so
Go ahead, Rob.
I'd like to make a motion to support staff recommendation with 2 caveats. One, add a condition to the CUP for no exterior operations at all from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Interior operations can be the 24 hours, but that's interior, number one. Number two, that a sound attuning wall design is encompassed in this project for, was it that the north-facing wall?
10 feet, right?
We
So
have a
we do
condition already with the 8-foot wall, so you would just
sorry,
be
10
modifying
foot.
that to 10 feet.
10 feet, yeah.
I'll
And-
second your motion.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you have something to add to? Okay, then. Let's have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries unanimously with Councilmember Trotter recused.
And I want to thank everybody for coming down here. I know this takes a lot of your time. It's not easy, especially for the first time people here. And but I hope you understand that we asked enough questions here to make sure that we get the best project with the littlest impact. Hey, Doug, thank you. Where are we? I think we're on number 9.
He did show up. Kept walking, man. Beat up the whole time.
All right, we're going to get on here to item number 9, which is approval of community benefit agreements with each of the 4 retail commercial cannabis businesses and finding the actions exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15303. And Tari.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Tonight, we're bringing forward the 4 community benefit agreements that have been negotiated with and signed by the 4 commercial cannabis retail operators that you all selected at your July 10th meeting. We've included this map just to quickly locate each of the businesses in the area, but tonight we'll just be focusing on the terms of the community benefit agreements. The agreements themselves are the same for each of the 4 with respect to the key terms, and these key terms include an annual community benefit fee, an annual community investment, other community benefits, active parking management, and restrictions on unsolicited advertisements. Both the community benefit fee and the community investment fee will be calculated from the business's gross receipts, which the agreements define as basically the amount the purchaser pays to purchase the cannabis and or cannabis products, less any taxes. So each of the operators has agreed to the same percentages, and that will be for the first year, each will pay 7% of their gross receipts as a community benefit fee. In the second year, that fee will rise to 7.5%, and then in the third year, it will rise to 8%. Those fees will be paid directly to the city on a quarterly basis. In addition, each business has agreed to invest directly into the Santee community in an amount equivalent to 1% of their gross receipts. This investment can take many forms as long as it is directed to Santee specifically. And the way it's going to work is that each business will let the city manager know what donations or contributions they plan to make, and then follow up at the end of each year to confirm where the investment was made and how it was valued. The city manager will have the opportunity to comment on the selections proposed, but in this way, the city is aware of both going into and at the end of the year where the investments went without getting directly involved in the selection process. An important aspect of negotiating these agreements was to strike a balance between supporting success of these businesses and being sure we can mitigate any impacts to the community. Two of the key ways that the agreements do so is to highlight traffic and parking expectations and advertising practices. So with respect to parking, the specific requirements will be addressed in the development review process, but the community benefits agreement add the opportunity for the city to require a formal parking management plan if issues arise that cause parking overflow or that adversely affect traffic flow. In addition, without minimizing the ways that a business may advertise or materially impacting the way businesses can advertise, these businesses have agreed to not hand out unsolicited flyers and to not place materials on parked cars. At the same time that these agreements were being negotiated, staff also prepared notices of exemption for each site, and we're bringing those forward tonight also to ask that council find that the actions are exempt from CEQA and that you approve the notices of exemption. So in conclusion, staff is recommending that council find all actions exempt from CEQA and approve the notices of exemption, and approve and authorize the city manager to sign community benefit agreements with the 4 entities whose corporate names are Hillside Group Santee LLC, Santee Project LLC, 9805 Prospect LLC, and East County Prospect LLC. Pardon? So that concludes our presentation, and I'm available and others are available if you have questions.
Okay, we do not have any speaker slips. I have Laura first up in the queue.
Thank you. I actually wrote something down because I do understand that members of the community might be very interested in the community benefit fee, the 1% fee, basically. So, and the Vice Mayor and I worked on this subcommittee for 3 years. Yeah, maybe a little longer. So I'm so glad we're at this point, and we've gone through a lot to get here. But as a member of the subcommittee, I want to highlight the significance of the community investment provisions outlined in Section 4.2 of our agreement with the cannabis operators. This section ensures that a portion of the operator's gross receipts equivalent to no less than 1% annually is dedicated to meaningful investments in our Santee community, such as supporting local youth and senior programs, homeless services, parks, and other vital initiatives. What makes this process particularly fair and effective is that it's managed through the city manager acting on behalf of the entire city council collectively, rather than through individuals, and there's no members with direct oversight. This approach helps maintain impartiality, prevents any undue pressure on the operators, and avoids the potential for influence or favoritism. It allows decisions to be made in the best interest of the community as a whole, ensuring transparency. I encourage our local nonprofit organizations, those dedicated to education, youth development, senior services, homelessness prevention, veteran support, and environmental stewardship to actively engage with this opportunity. Your work is at the heart of what makes Santee great, and these funds are intended to amplify your efforts in building a healthier, more vibrant city for everyone. I did say nonprofits. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit, but I do know that businesses like to work through nonprofits for basically tax reasons. The operators will submit annual accountings to verify that these investments meet or exceed their required value, with clear reporting to the city manager within 90 days of each calendar year's end. As a council, all 5 of us are committed to upholding the spirit and letter of this contract. We expect the community investment process to proceed collaboratively, focusing solely on the collective good of Santee residents. This is an exciting step forward, and I'm optimistic about the positive impact it will have for our nonprofits and the community at large. Thanks.
Rob, did you want to say something? Being part of that? Dustin, anything? Ron? All right, then. Have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Good job, Dory.
All right, Evan. Yeah. Rest easy now.
Way to hang in there, too. That takes us to, are we on 10? Oh, okay. Approval of organizational restructuring, salary schedule amendments, and appropriation of general fund reserves to the fiscal year 2025-26 operating budget. Mr. Halpert.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. So this is your budget action for the reorganization items that we've discussed several times. In addition to those reorganization, there's an item to do some very minor modifications to a couple department head salaries to achieve parity across the majority of the department heads, and also an item to take 2 part-time positions and combine them into 1 permanent full-time benefited position. That concludes my report, and I'm available for questions.
Motion to approve.
Is there any discussion? No.
Wait for you to call on me, sir.
Councilmember Trotter.
All right, so a couple things. I want to talk about the building department side of it. So definitely in support of the fleet supervisor, the 2 part-time going to the full-time, and the director there. So can you get some explanation of where we are with the building department as far as the staffing? And we're asking for a full-time building inspector and a plans checker. Is that what it's called?
Examiner. Yeah.
Examiner.
So the plans examiner would be a new position. We'd full-time. We don't have one of those. The inspector, we have a supervising inspector, but on a daily basis, we're continuing to use Interwest services for additional inspection purposes. So I've had some discussions with Sandy about looking at that further and seeing, is now the right time to move forward. My recommendation would be that you approve the position so that at such time that the new city manager and department head feel that it's appropriate to hire that position, that they could do that. But I will say that even today, with a full-time inspector on board, we're still relying on Interwest to provide
How many daily inspections are we having with the full-time building inspector and with the Interwest inspector?
I don't have the combined number, but for Interwest inspections, they're doing about 15 hours a week right now in the last 6 months. The 6 months previous to that, they did about 19 to 20 hours a week.
In the full-time?
I don't have the inspection hours for the full-time.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we had a building official, did the building official not do some of the building inspections?
The building official would go if there was a question that the senior building inspector had, but he didn't do them solely by himself.
Is there such thing as a planning examiner and a building inspector person? Like, can that be supplemental to the building inspection?
It could be supplemental. I think what Gary was talking about too is once we know who the building official is going to be, their skill set, if we pick the building inspector as the next hire, they might have some plans examiner experience. And so that might mean that we not look for somebody right away. We would have to assess based off of the skill sets of the people that were chosen. But right now we are using Interwest for those inspection services because we have more than enough for our senior building inspector.
I understand that, and that's what we're trying to achieve here, obviously, is get rid of Interwest so that the savings of $218,000 we're reappropriating to full-time help. Yeah. But you just said we're only spending 15 hours a week on additional building inspections. Mm-hmm. So does it justify a full-time second building inspector that only does one job?
Yeah, well, and I guess what I was saying is I feel like they could do more than one job depending upon who the person is. And there are other functions that the building inspector could also serve aside from just the inspections. Like we're talking about plan check reviews. We're talking about, hey, when our senior inspector, who by the way is on call for jury duty this week, right? We have backup services and good customer service to ensure that, this other person can come in and perform those inspections as opposed to relying on, somebody from the outside to do that work.
You guys, sorry, Gary.
It's kind of typical that you look at about 25% of a position is going to have to handle other administrative functions as well as vacation and sick leave and all of that. So even though you may be at 15 hours, that doesn't mean that you have 25 more hours of capacity right now. So I just think you would be better served if you gave the flexibility to the next city manager to work through it. I certainly understand what you're saying. There's also the issue of you may even want to have some additional capacity just for customer service purposes, even if there's a little bit of a loss.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with you, and that's kind of why going with this conversation is, gosh, has it been 3 years now since we went down this road of establishing our own building department in here, and we're nowhere near where we expected to be at this point, to be quite honest with you. And so at this point, you guys, I'm just going to kind of say, I think we need, as much as it feels like we had too many ad hoc committees and subcommittees lately, we need a subcommittee to actually look at our building department and figure out why we have not achieved the goals that this council has set the priorities for. And Sandy, I'm not completely blaming you or looking at you because you came in after the fact of when these goals were established, but we have not gotten to the goals that this council set. And so, I think somebody needs to take the bull by the horns here and make it happen. So.
You raise a good question, though, and I think you tried to answer this, Gary, but if we have somebody that's working 15 hours on inspections, what do you do the other 3 days a week?
To clarify, we only pay Interwest for the hours that they're working, but again, I think it's about trying to ensure that there is support for other functions within the division and the department related to customer service, having the continuity and reviewing the same projects. If we're just looking at one particular site, but the same inspector is going every single time, then you have that historical information, the connection, and then when that plan set comes in or the revisions, like, oh yeah, I went and inspected that, I know what this should look like. I'm not saying that Interwest doesn't provide that service, but somebody who is an in-house employee is going to have a different approach than somebody who's, a contractor looking at that.
I don't think we disagree with you. That's the whole point we started down this road 3 years ago.
And I'll say that when it was presented to us, there was, by not using Interwest, we were obviously going to have way better customer service for people doing business with us. But also it was shown to have almost a cost savings. I mean, that's what we saw.
It was a couple hundred grand, roughly.
Yeah, it's considerable.
But then what's happened over the past few years is, and we thought, okay, and drop dead, Interwest is gone, this date, and it kept getting bumped out and then more money allocated towards it. So as far as the staff recommendation on the positions, the only thing that I read and I discussed with Gary, I was like, it says, this will cost $0 to the budget for plans examiner and building inspector, but what we've seen is that hasn't played out. It's actually cost us money because we've never truly been able to get rid of Interwest like we thought we were going to be able to, whatever reason. So I understand the plans examiner need. The building inspector, and this conversation even, highlights this even more, is maybe that's not the right job title. Maybe if it's a position that's going to cover several things in that department, 15 hours of building inspecting, but then all these other things, then perhaps a different job title when you go recruiting is warranted. And I don't know what that job title is, but, I'm not comfortable saying, yes, let's go out and hire a building inspector. And actually, I'd like to look at that and see what is a more appropriate title.
I agree. And that's kind of why I said at this point, I don't know if, we're setting policy, and this is what we want to see happen. We're not getting where we said we wanted to get to. And when we brought on our previous building official, that was the previous building official was going to give us that direction, kind of give us that guidance of where we thought we should go here in the city based upon 3 months or 6 months of time here, kind of develop that process for us. And,
Yeah. At this point, you have an in-house building official just started this month. So, and that person certainly would have the capability of doing both complex plan checks even, as well as inspections. I think it goes back to the qualifications that you may get. Right. But I certainly think it's a good idea for you to form that subcommittee and move forward that way.
Would you want to move this to the subcommittee then?
I would request that you approve this action, but then form the subcommittee to work.
Well, I made the motion, so.
We can form that subcommittee. We don't have to do that tonight. And I think that we should have some more comment about a subcommittee, and because obviously I don't think we're going to get it done fast enough before another manager comes on board. and they should probably be part of those discussions.
Yeah, almost.
Pardon me, sorry.
Congruent with it.
I think it would be something that one, I'd like to be on it, but two, that we work with the new city manager, which, by the way, with new city manager, I thought you're staying forever. What? No? That we work with the new city manager.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Do we want to
and make that something that,
Yeah. Let's
put their stamp on it
Sean,
as well.
You have any recommendations on that, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, appointing or forming a ad hoc committee now versus later, that's up to you. I do have some thoughts about how you should do that. I don't think you should include it in your motion.
Right.
I think generally the best course of action is for the mayor to work with you to have an ad hoc committee. It's not going to be council created. It's basically created by the mayor, just to focus on this issue. So it's not standing. And for all those reasons, it's not something that's legislatively created. And so I would encourage you to do it that way. But whether you do that now or later, that's up to you guys.
Well, yeah, but that like you said, though, I think this is kind of outside of the purview of the, and we don't want to go down
Of the
the
motion.
Brown Act.
Yeah, no, I just want to bring the discussion up because
Okay.
to the
All right, well, I
priorities.
have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. In that case, then let's go ahead and vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. All right, it takes us to another round of non-agenda public comment. Any speaker slips?
No, sir.
Oh, my goodness.
No. Okay, then, city council reports.
Done.
Gosh, I actually did have one. Sorry.
Dun, dun, dun.
Can you get someone else and I can just pull it up?
Dustin?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Rob?
None for me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'm ready. We're scheduling a special meeting in September, discuss new air pollution and control board matters. So that's my last air pollution control board meeting was long and pissed me off. And I'll provide an update on our direction after that meeting in September. It's September 11th. Ron, Dustin, and I attended the fire department brush rig push-in ceremony. Congratulations. And I attended a CEQA and EIR workshop yesterday, so that was timely. And Vice Mayor McNellis and I'm just going to say this on our behalf, congratulations. I think he's not here anymore, but to Steve Miller and his team. Got the email today that the community center is now officially out for bid.
Yeah. Well, there goes the city manager's report.
No report, Mayor.
For me, the only thing is Sandag has been dark this month. I was going to report out about the roundabouts and all that discussion, but we already got that out of the way, so I don't have anything more than that. We're looking in October for a annual conference to the League of California Cities in Long Beach. So we're looking forward to that. Be some. The only thing that we're looking at now is discussion about how potential redistricting could affect all of our communities, and so more on that later on. Any help? City manager report.
No, sir.
City attorney report.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, I do have a very short report. I wanted to follow up on some public comment that has been received recently about e-bikes and just give you a real quick summary of e-bike law and, more importantly, take any direction that you may give to me regarding any kind of regulation you may want to think about in this area. To keep this brief, like many things involving moving vehicles, which bikes are, and public streets, the state has very significant regulations and essentially has preempted the field of local regulations on things like e-bikes. There are, I think as you may know, there's specific definitions in the vehicle code about what an e-bike is. There are different classes of e-bikes. The e-bikes have to follow all the rules of the road. It must, if you're under 18, you have to wear a helmet when you're riding an e-bike. You have to have proper equipment. You can't dual ride. You can't let someone hop on the back unless your bike is specifically made for double riding. Recognizing that these rules exist, but maybe not always are followed. So let's be clear about that. But there are already rules on the books, I guess is my point about these things. There are other rules about Class 3 bikes, including age limits that are 16 years old, and everyone has to wear a helmet. And you have a sheriff who has a team who's very knowledgeable about these requirements, and the sheriff's conducted 2 e-bike educational sessions this summer in Santee, and so something that's important to them to get the word out about requirements and hold people accountable for following the rules that already exist, which I know is a big challenge, and obviously parents play a big part in that process and making sure their kids are following the rules and really have bikes that are appropriate for their age. But there is one thing I wanted to point out to you, which is there is a one law that is specific to San Diego County that does give you some local authority to at least to think about. And basically this law that went into effect at the beginning of this year, it's AB 2234, it allows you to regulate by prohibiting people under the age of 12 from riding Class 1 and 2 bikes. As I mentioned, Class 3, you already have to be 16, but Class 1 and 2, there's no age limit.
You mean Class 1 and 2 e-bikes?
E-bikes, yep. And so that's something you can consider. One other jurisdiction, Chula Vista, has already pursued that. There's a similar pilot project that is in Marin County. So this is unique to San Diego. This particular one, you could do it whether you want to or not. That's why I'm raising it to you, and you can provide me direction now or later about this. But since the issue came up, I wanted to respond to it. So thank you very much.
So quick question, if I may. How does that refer to scooters too? Because they're doubling up on the scooters. And
This is not, this is specific e-bike. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Carl, do you have anything to say?
Yeah. So if I hear you right, you're saying California law says anybody under 12 can do a Class 1 or a Class 2.
There's no age restriction unless...
So I could have a 4-year-old hop on a bike and ride it if he physically could. You realize how ridiculous that is? At bare minimum, we need to have an age limit. And I still maintain we should have some kind of training and certification. Okay? 12-year-olds, they don't know the rules of the road. You know, they know to stop at a stop sign. They don't stop at the stop sign, but they know to do it. But that's it. Okay. You know, I'm just saying, with what I see flying around the streets in Santee, okay, the kid's going to get killed. That's all there is to it. And I don't know if the sheriffs want to chime in on that, but as I remember about 3 weeks ago, there were 3 kids on e-bikes playing chicken on Buena Vista, and you guys nailed them right there at the corner of Buena Vista and Cottonwood. And it was all over social media. I happened to drive by right as you guys stopped them because I don't play chicken. So, you know, if we want to be a responsible community, we need to protect people that need to be protected. Parents are just as stupid as the kids when it comes to e-bikes because they don't know. Okay? And the consequences need to be severe. A kid needs to go home and explain to his parents why the sheriff's department impounded his e-bike. And they have to come back and they have to come back to the sheriff's department and pay something painful to get it back. Or I guarantee you, you're going to have dead kids. That's it.
Well, and
Thanks, Carl.
again, I take that to the scooters too, because they're riding down the street with no helmets. There's 2 kids on a scooter, motorized, by the way.
Sean, can you find out if there's anything to allow us to create any other stronger for scooters also?
I can bring back, but I'm specifically asking you, do you want me to bring back something specific where
Sean,
I know you're allowed to do it?
Sean,
Right.
for my ignorance, can you tell me the difference between a Type 1, a Type 2, and a Type 3 e-bike or class, excuse me?
Yeah.
And are e-bikes, are they the same as a regular bicycle, like use a bike lane, a road? What is the difference between a e-bike traffic rules and a regular bicycle traffic rule?
They all follow the same rules of the road. So you have to, ride on the street. You have to, have all the things I talked about. You have to honor all the traffic signs and whatnot. So it's basically a moving vehicle, right? So a class 1 e-bike is what I actually have, which is just a pedal assist, and it is limited to 20 miles an hour. Class 2, basically, it has a throttle, but all these bikes have to have pedals. You have to have pedals, or else it's a e-motorcycle. And that also is limited to 20 miles an hour. And then Class 3 can go up to 28 miles an hour. So those are the different classes that are defined by law. And then there are different rules that apply to all of those.
And your e-motorcycle is not street legal.
For the most part, that's correct. It's mostly for off-road.
But they are driving down the roads.
No, I understand, but again, they're not allowed to.
Yeah,
And they don't have pedals.
E-motorcycle specifically is prohibited on any California street without a license plate. However, there's only one county, I believe, that is, or where DMV is issuing that. Yeah, thank you. And so that's not in our county. So if you see one of those kids on that street, the only place they can have it is on the trails.
On the dirt, yeah.
On the dirt, yeah.
Captain, is the e-motorcycles your biggest problem out there right now, would you say, or is it something different with the e-bikes?
I'd say it is a problem from time to time. We do have kids that are out there running amok and not following the rules of the road. Our deputies do take the time to educate them or educate the parents after the fact. I do agree with Carl that a lot of this component should be in the very beginning. So teaching the parents or maybe with social media blasts, kind of educating everybody before they make the purchase for their children so they know that they're purchasing an illegal item. But I can say that thankfully our city is safer than other cities that I've worked in that have much bigger problems with e-bike riders.
Yeah, thank you for that. Is it Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, or the e-motorcycle in your experience here is the biggest problem?
Yes, we have seen the e-motorcycles. Some of the kids are out there and they're just zooming really fast, and we can identify them real quick because there's no pedals to them, and also the speed. And we do try to enforce what we can.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, in order to ride an e-motorcycle, you have to have a helmet, but it has to be a DOT motorcycle helmet. Can't be a bicycle helmet.
Still not allowed on the streets to begin with.
Didn't you guys have to do like the bike rodeo when you were kids and get your little? I did. I'm that old.
Nope.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so, I'm going to make this recommendation that you bring back a ordinance that will prohibit a 12-year-old and under to, according to what the rules say. Also, maybe look at what the Chula Vista put out there, because I think theirs was kind of comprehensive.
Yeah, I mean, what we're allowed to do is what I'm recommending or bringing to you to do.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, a lot of other cities take the vehicle code and say, yeah, that. But that's not how we do business in Santee.
Right.
I mean, the laws are on the books. This is one where you actually have some opportunity to create new law that doesn't otherwise exist. And
Right.
I'll bring that back to you. And then as well, I'll bring some more information about scooters and electric scooters and those things.
So, the places that sell motorized bicycles in Santee, not motorized bicycles, e-bikes in Santee, they are doing what they can to help educate people that are buying those when they buy them. Unfortunately, we can't control anybody else outside of Santee. But what would be really great is if at some point in time if we could get county council to create some kind of rule requiring certain literature to be provided by e-bike companies in distributors, sellers, whatever we call them, in San Diego County to provide some, because I know the sheriff's department has those pamphlets, and because I know that we also have done at least 2 e-bike classes in Santee, and we also did an e-bike presentation at a Compact meeting. So the information's out there, but we have to make sure that that information gets into more hands, because without getting into more hands, we still have the problem. But my recommendation is that, and I hope council would also agree that we have Sean come back with that ordinance.
More information.
More information or an ordinance?
He needs to bring back that information.
Yeah, I'll bring back it could be an ordinance or a resolution. I'll bring back a recommendation with the appropriate form, and then I'll bring back additional information about that specific issue and then some of the other issues that have been raised tonight.
Okay. I'd like that to come back in the form of a ordinance as soon as we can.
Mm-hmm. With a report. I want the report, one, because I want it on record for citizens that aren't here, that they may watch it on TV or whatever, to get that information out and show.
What kind of report do you?
Just about what he's just discussing right now with regards to the different classifications, what they are, how to recognize them,
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, this is my report in response to this issue being raised. I wanted to get your pulse on the direction, and now that I have it, I will provide a full report with all the backup information.
Okay. How about if we have the sheriff come down and do that presentation at council? Because I think that you will find it extremely informative. It would even go beyond what Sean just explained about the different levels. Okay.
Mayor, I'll work with, the captain's already provided me with the contact, and the contact's provided me with information. They've offered to have that person here tonight, and I said it's not ripe yet, but next time it will be. So I'm sure that we'll work with them, yeah.
Yeah, and James, work with them on getting that agendized. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good to go? Well, I won't be here on the 3rd. I don't have to be here for everything to happen. That's what I got a vice mayor and 3 other council members for. Okay, so, all right, that takes us to a closed session. Item number 12, public employment, title city manager. Item number 13, public employee appointment, title city manager. Item number 14, conference with labor negotiators regarding city manager.